Act 1, Part 1 of It Pays to Advertise by Roy Cooper Megrue and Walter Hackett. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dramatis Personae.
Mary Grayson. Read by Annie Mars.
Johnson. Read by Alan Mapstone.
Comtesse de Bourrienne. Read by Sonia.
Rodney Martin. Read by Greg Giordano.
Cyrus Martin. Read by Todd.
Ambrose Peel. Read by Son of the Exiles.
Marie. Read by Sandra Schmidt.
William Smith. Read by Rob Marland.
Donald McChesney. Read by Alan Mapstone.
Miss Burke. Read by Telly Tiger.
Ellery Clark. Read by Anthony Joseph.
Charles Bronson. Read by Rick Cordray.
The Six Sandwichmen. Read by Wayne Cook.
Stage directions read by Michelle Eaton. Act 1. The Library at Cyrus Martin's. Act 2. Rodney Martin's office. Act 3. Same as Act 1. Author's note: the advertising statistics used in the play are facts, not farce. It Pays to Advertise, Act 1, Part 1. Scene: the library of Cyrus Martin's home in New York City. A very handsome room in tapestry and dark oak. Doors up left and down right. Books, chairs, divans as necessary. Down left is an oak typewriting table with a typewriter on it. It is obviously out of place in the room and is evidently only a temporary arrangement. Handsome walnut furniture. Mantle set on mantle. Fire dogs and irons in fireplace. All over carpet. Handsome busts on bookcases. Chandelier and 4 brackets. Curtains on windows at back. It is 7 o'clock in the evening, early September. At Rise, Mary Grayson is seated at typewriter. She strums the keys idly and indifferently with one finger. She might hum a turkey trot, keeping time with a one-finger accompaniment. In a moment, Johnson, a typical English butler, enters from the door upper left.
I beg pardon, Miss Grayson?
Mary whirling about eagerly.
What is it, Johnson? Has young Mr. Martin come in yet?
No, miss.
But I told you not to interrupt me until he did.
I know, miss, but it's that Mr. Ambrose Peel again. He's called 4 times.
Say that Mr. Martin will be back at 8 o'clock.
Yes, miss. There's a lady waiting too, miss, to see Mr. Martin Senior. Here's her card.
Madame la Comtesse de Bourrienne. Tell her that Mr. Martin Senior can see no one.
I can't make her comprehend anything I say. She just sits and waits.
Oh, bring her in then. I'll make her understand somehow. But Johnson, don't fail to let me know the minute young Mr. Martin gets home.
Johnson going to door up left.
Yes, miss.
Mary rises from typewriter, takes off her sleeve protectors and smooths out her skirt. Johnson announcing.
Countess de Bourrienne.
The Countess enters from door upper left. She is a very smart-looking girl of about 26 or 27, typically French in manner, and does not speak a word of English. He exits. Mary to Countess.
How do you do?
Countess advancing to her.
Mademoiselle Martin?
Oh, no. I'm Miss Grayson, Mr. Martin's secretary.
Countess blankly.
Secretary?
I'm sorry, but it's quite impossible for you to see Mr. Martin. He's confined to the house with a severe attack of gout. If you will write him, I will see that he gets your letter. You can address him here instead of the office. While he is ill, I come here every day for the mail.
Pardon, mais je ne comprends pas. Je ne parle pas l'anglais. Vous parlez français peut-être?
Mary blankly.
You see, Mr. Martin is ill.
Je répète que je ne parle pas anglais. Monsieur Martin est-il ici?
It's quite useless for you to talk. I don't understand French.
Un moment, mademoiselle. Peut-être je parle trop vite.
More slowly.
Je désire parler à Monsieur Martin à propos des affaires. Je suis riche, mais on peut toujours être plus riche. Si je pouvais obtenir l'agence du savon Martin pour la France, ça serait une belle affaire. Je donnerais 50 000 francs pour cette agence. Répétez cela à Monsieur Martin et je suis sûre qu'il me recevra immédiatement. Vous comprenez maintenant?
But I really don't understand French.
Slowly and loudly.
Mr. Martin is ill, sick. He can see no one. You'll have to go. Please do.
Mon Dieu, vous êtes stupide.
Sitting down in chair left of table.
J'attendrai Monsieur Martin.
There's no use in your sitting down.
She goes to her.
Mr. Martin doesn't understand French either.
C'est bien, mademoiselle. Je ne suis pas pressée.
I don't understand. Please go.
She waves her hands.
Ah, laissez-moi donc tranquille. Vous m'embêtez.
Oh, dear.
Johnson enters.
Young Mr. Martin's come in. He'll be here directly.
Good heavens.
She goes over and makes a wild sweeping gesture.
Mr. Martin is out. Out.
Countess with marked accent.
Out?
Mary nodding her head.
Oui.
Countess rapidly.
Oui? Ah, vous parlez français. Je voudrais savoir si Monsieur Martin est ici. Je voudrais lui parler tout de suite.
Heavens, she's off again. Let's act it for her. Let's see.
She points to Johnson.
This is Mr. Martin.
Eh?
We're pretending that is Mr. Martin.
Countess shaking her head.
Ah non, ça ce n'est pas Monsieur Martin.
We're pretending, see? Pretending. Now, you see, Mr. Martin is out. See?
Johnson exits and enters immediately. Countess suddenly.
Ah, Monsieur Martin n'est pas ici. Je comprends.
Heavens, she understands, Johnson. Take her by the arm and lead her out.
Crosses left. Johnson starting to do so as Countess rises to go out.
Yes, miss.
Attendez. À quelle heure Monsieur Martin rentrera-t-il?
She sits again.
Now what's the matter? You'd better come quietly, miss.
He takes her by the arm. Countess shaking him off.
À quelle heure rentrera-t-il?
There is a blank pause. To Mary.
Maintenant, faites attention à votre tour. Regardez-moi. Je suis Monsieur Martin, vous comprenez? Moi, je suis Monsieur Martin.
Mary nodding.
Mr. Martin.
Countess going to door.
Monsieur Martin n'est pas ici. Il est sorti. Il est au bureau. Enfin, s'il n'est pas au bureau, c'est pas mon affaire. Maintenant, je voudrais savoir à quelle heure rentrera-t-il?
Mary as Countess goes.
Heavens, she's going.
She turns at door.
She's coming back.
Countess returning to Mary.
À quelle heure Monsieur Martin rentrera-t-il?
There is another pause. Suddenly the Countess takes out her watch. Mary eagerly.
She wants to know when he'll be in?
She runs over and points to clock.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Oui, 8 heures, je comprends. Merci bien. Je m'en vais maintenant, mais je reviendrai. Au revoir.
I can understand that. Au revoir. Au revoir. Good night.
Countess going.
Merci. À 8 heures. Bonsoir.
She exits.
Don't let her in here again unless you have an interpreter.
Very good, miss.
He exits door upper left. Mary primps and sits at typewriter again and idly touches the keys with one finger, maintaining an eager watch on the door. She hears someone coming and hastily and busily bangs away at the typewriter. Rodney Martin enters door left. He is a young man of 24, with a certain quaint frank charm, in spite of his funny little moustache. English morning coat, spats and white carnation. He is by no means brainless, but simply undeveloped by reason of the kind of life he has led under appallingly frictionless conditions.
Miss Grayson?
Mary's previous businesslike air has entirely disappeared, and she assumes the fluttering airs of a timid ingenue, overdoing it for anyone except a boy madly in love with her.
What a surprise!
Rodney goes and locks both doors left.
Why, Mr. Martin, what are you doing?
Rodney coming to her and facing her over back of chair.
I want to talk with you. Mary, will you marry me?
Why, really?
You love me, don't you?
I don't know what to say.
Say yes.
Mary shyly.
Yes.
Rodney trying to grab her.
You angel.
Mary eluding him.
Wait.
We'll be married right away.
But suppose your father disapproves?
He won't know anything about it until we're married. And then what could he do?
He might cut you off.
Would you care?
Mary hastily.
No, indeed. I was thinking of you, dear.
Don't you bother about me. We'll be married tomorrow, and then come home for the parental blessing.
Oh, I couldn't do that. It wouldn't be square. I'm his private secretary. He trusts me. To bring me here to his home and then find out I'd married his son on the sly, we couldn't do that.
You do make it sound rather bad. I wouldn't want us to give Father the worst of it. We've always been pretty good friends, he and I. I guess I better tell him. In a week or so.
Why, Rodney, if you love me, we must get this awful suspense over.
But suppose he does object?
Even then, I wouldn't give you up.
Mary.
You could go into business, make a big man of yourself, make me proud of you.
You talk just like the heroine in a play I saw last night. She wanted the hero to go to work, and he did. And then for 4 acts, everybody suffered. She wanted the hero to go to work, and he did. And then for 4 acts, everybody suffered.
Don't you want to work?
Rodney seriously.
I should say not. Imagine going to bed every night, knowing you've got to get up in the morning and go to business.
You'd be happier, wouldn't you, if you had a job?
Please don't talk like Father. He's preached a job at me ever since I left college. Why should I work? Father made millions out of soap and is forever complaining that he always had his nose to the grindstone, that he's worked 14 hours a day for 30 years, that he's never known what fun was, and it's all made him old before his time. I can't see the sense of following an example like that. I really can't. He's got enough for you and me and our children. Yes, and our children's grandchildren. I've explained all this to him, but I can't seem to make him understand. But it's simple. Why work when there's millions in the family? And why even talk of money when you and I are in love? Come, kiss me.
He leans towards her. She moves away to left. He crosses right.
No, we mustn't. Not until you've spoken to your father.
You won't kiss me till I tell him?
No.
And you will when I do?
Yes.
Then I'll tell him right away.
He goes toward door left. She crosses right.
Oh, Rodney, you're splendid. And don't be afraid.
Afraid?
Pausing.
You don't think I'd better wait till the morning?
Cyrus Martin knocks at the door violently and says,
"Ouch!"
in a loud tone. Martin off stage. Martin off stage.
Why is this door locked? What the devil does this mean?
If you don't ask him now, I'll never marry you.
Martin off stage.
Open the door!
Coming, Father. Coming.
He goes and unlocks both doors. Martin loudly.
Ouch! Ouch! The devil!
He enters.
Why was that door locked?
Was it locked?
You young fool! Didn't you just unlock it?
Crosses to right. Rodney nervously.
So I did.
Mary has gone to her typewriter and now begins typing.
Stop that noise!
She does so. Rodney looks at her discouraged. She motions to him to go on. Meanwhile, Martin has painfully limped to a chair downstage by table and sinks into it. His foot gives him another twinge.
Ouch! Oh, my poor foot!
Rodney hastily picks up footstool and comes with it to his father.
I'm afraid your foot hurts.
Not at all. I just pretend that it does.
Rodney fervently.
I hoped you were better.
Well, I'm not. What have you got there?
A footstool. I thought it might make you more comfortable.
How much do you want?
Why, nothing, Father.
Well, anyhow, the answer is not a nickel.
You do me an injustice. I'm just sorry to see you in pain.
Well, you want something, that's certain.
Why do you say that?
I know you, and whatever it is, you can't have it.
Rodney turns appealingly to Mary. She ignores him. He turns back to his father and tries to muster up his courage.
Well, as a matter of fact, I did want...
Now we're getting to it.
I wanted to have a talk with you. An important talk.
Curious. That's just what I wanted with you. I've wanted it all day, and now we'll have it. Miss Grayson?
Yes, sir?
Rises.
Get out.
She exits through door upper left without noticing Rodney, who stands looking after her dejectedly, as he hears the door close.
Now, what do you mean by overdrawing your allowance again?
Rodney innocently.
What it simply proves is that I was right when I told you my allowance was too small.
Martin aghast.
What?
And if my allowance is too small for one, it's much too small for two.
For two?
Father, has it ever occurred to you that I might marry?
Of course it has. You're fool enough for anything.
I don't consider a man a fool because he's married.
That's because you've never tried it.
I intend to try it.
Who is the girl?
Rodney nervously.
The girl?
Yes, girl. You're not going to marry an automobile or a polo pony. You're going to marry a girl, aren't you? Some blue-eyed, doll-faced, gurgling, fluttering little fool. Oh, why doesn't God give young men some sense about women?
I object very strongly to your speaking in that way of Miss Grayson.
Miss Grayson? Miss Grayson? You're not going to marry a typewriter?
Yes, sir.
Does she know it?
Yes, sir.
Of course, she knows a good thing like you when she sees it.
I won't listen to you talk of Miss Grayson in that way.
You've got to listen. I won't permit any such absurd, ridiculous marriage. Thank heaven you had sense enough not to elope.
I wanted to, but she wouldn't. She insisted on your being told, so you see what an injustice.
Injustice? Can't you see that she wished me to know? So that if I disapproved and cut you off, she'd not be stuck with you on her hands.
Please, Father, it's quite useless.
He starts to go.
No, my boy, wait a minute. Remember, I'm your friend, even if I am your father.
Rises, goes to door right to ring bell.
Don't you believe it's only your money she wants?
I know it isn't.
Martin pushing bell.
I'll prove it is.
What are you going to do?
Send for Miss Grayson.
You shan't humiliate her.
Johnson entering from door upper left.
Yes, sir?
Ask Miss Grayson to come here at once.
Yes, sir.
He exits.
I'll tell that scheming secretary that if you persist in this marriage, I'll disinherit you. Then watch her throw you over.
Even if you are my father, you shan't insult the girl I love.
Poppycock, you're afraid to put her to the test. You're afraid she will chuck you.
Rodney quickly.
I am not afraid.
Mary entering from door upper left.
You wanted me, Mr. Martin?
Rodney going to her. She crosses to centre.
Mary.
Wait a minute. My precious son informs me that you and he intend to marry.
Mary timidly.
Oh, sir.
And I wish to tell you that if he marries you, he doesn't get 1 penny of my money, and that means he'll starve.
Then at least we can starve together.
They hold hands.
Mary.
Making a grandstand play, eh? You think I'm too fond of him not to relent. Well, you're wrong. Neither of you can get a nickel from me. You can both starve together.
We won't starve.
What can you do? You're not a producer. You never will be.
Crosses to left.
You're just an idler. You couldn't earn $5 a week, but you'll have a chance to try. You'll get out of my house tonight, or I'll have you thrown out.
Now, Father.
Not another word, sir. Not another word.
He kicks chair and stamps out angrily through lower left door. Rodney to Mary.
It's getting more like that play every minute.
Mary half crying.
Oh, Rodney, Rodney, what have I done? I'm so sorry.
You haven't done anything. Neither of us has. Father didn't seem to give us a chance to. He did it all.
Oh, Rodney.
You were bully the way you stuck up for me. When you said we'd starve together, I just choked all up.
Mary genuinely.
Please don't, Rodney.
Just because he's got a lot of money, he seems to think there isn't any left. But I'll show him. I may not have much at the start, but watch my finish.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to work.
Mary, excited.
You are? Really?
Rises.
Yes, indeed. Father couldn't make me do it, but you have. I'll work for you.
Oh, you are splendid. Will you get a position?
I should say not. Work for someone else? No, sir. I'm going in business for myself. For you. I'm going to show the stuff that's in me. Of course, we can't get married till I've made good. Will you wait?
Mary, shyly.
Yes, dear.
You're a dandy.
What business are you going in?
I don't know yet. I'm going upstairs to pack a suitcase and think.
Crosses to right.
I'll be back in 15 minutes.
He grabs her and kisses her hastily but heartily.
Oh, please.
Don't mind, Mary. You'll get used to 'em.
Exits door lower right. She goes over and raps 3 times on the door, through which Martin left, and backs away from it. She stands there expectantly. In a moment, Martin tiptoes in with no trace of a limp. She puts her fingers to her lips to indicate silence, and points off stage right to indicate where Rodney has gone. Martin tiptoes nearer, nodding his head, questioning and eager. Mary smilingly nods her head in reply. Martin in stage whisper.
You mean our scheme worked?
Mary delighted.
Yes, yes.
You really have got him to go to work?
I have.
Martin gleefully.
My George, that's great.
Isn't it?
You're sure he wasn't just talking?
No, he's gone upstairs to pack and go out and make a name for himself.
You're a wise girl. Isn't it wonderful?
And you said I couldn't do it.
I said I didn't think you could, but you have, and I owe you $2,500.
Crosses to chair left of table to make out cheque.
Oh, there's no hurry.
Never put off till tomorrow the money you can get today.
Aren't you proud that I've been so successful?
Proud? I'm so doggone happy. I'm making this out for $5,000.
Oh, Mr. Martin.
And it's worth $50,000 to me to have my boy really want to work, not just to do it to please me. What a difference an incentive makes.
Hands her the cheque. Mary smiling at cheque.
Doesn't it?
Martin crosses to left.
Especially if it's a girl. And to think I begged and threatened Rodney for months. And then you plan this scheme. You invent my gout. You rehearse me. You come up here for 6 short weeks and bing! You get him so he's in love with you.
Or thinks he is.
But say, what about your marriage?
Sits in chair left of table.
He said he wouldn't marry me till he'd made good, if I'd just wait.
Sits in chair right of table. Martin anxiously.
Do you think perhaps he may really love you?
Of course not.
It's the first time he's actually wanted to marry anybody.
Oh, it's just that I've been very blue-eyed and baby-faced.
I guess you're right.
Of course I am. When I break our engagement, he may feel sort of lonely for a while and give up women forever, but pretty soon some charming girl of his world will come along, some limousine lady, and they'll live happily ever after.
I sort of begin to wish this marriage was going to be on the level.
It wouldn't work out. I'm a businesswoman. Even if your son did love me, really love, I wouldn't marry him. Just now he's 24 with an Indian rubber heart and is easy to stretch and easy to snap back. All boys at 24 are like that.
Martin reminiscently.
I guess so. I remember when I was a young man, there was a girl. My heart was broken for a week, perhaps 10 days. I went down to the club one night and got splifficated, however.
Abruptly changing the subject.
What's my son going to work at?
I don't know yet.
Do you think he'll make good?
He will if he keeps at it.
Rises and goes right.
Well, you keep him at it.
Rises and goes right.
That wasn't our agreement. I only undertook to get him to start to work.
Mary quickly.
Isn't that true?
Quite. I was just thinking we might make some new agreement to have you keep him on the job.
Mary rubbing her fingers as if handling money.
I'm a businesswoman.
What strikes you as fair?
I'd rather the proposition came from you.
What do you say to your present salary? And at the end of the year, I will personally give you a check for 25% of what Rodney has made.
Oh, that wouldn't interest me at all.
What's your proposition, then?
Mary promptly.
My present salary, doubled.
That's pretty steep.
You told me what I'd done already was worth 50,000 to you.
Merely a figure of speech, my dear. Let's see, you're getting 40 a week, and...
50, and I want 100.
Sounds like a hold-up.
Crosses right.
Then let's drop it. This new contract was your idea, not mine. Good evening.
She starts to go, gets to door, which she bangs as if she had gone. She remains, however, in the room.
Hold on.
He turns and sees her, and then chuckles at her joke on him. She laughs too.
I was simply figuring. Tell you what I'll do. $75 a week and 10% of what Rodney makes.
75 a week and 10% of what he makes. All right, I'll go you.
Good.
Mary goes to desk, takes notebook.
Will you just write me a note stating the facts and the consideration?
You want it in writing?
Crosses to table right and sits.
Certainly. It's always safer that way.
He writes. As he writes.
As soon as you see Rodney, you'll have to discharge me.
I will, violently. I make a pretty good actor under your direction. How did you like that irate father stuff?
Great. You needn't make the note that long, just a memorandum.
Martin holding up paper.
How's that?
Mary reading.
I think that covers it. If you'll sign it.
Martin confused.
Oh, didn't I sign it?
Mary smiling.
No, and never put off till tomorrow what you can sign today.
Martin signing.
There you are.
Hands Mary paper. Mary sits on table.
Thanks. Now, Mr. Martin, there's just one question I'd like to ask.
Go ahead. I'll answer you anything.
Why is it, when Rodney's been out of college for 2 years, there's only the past 3 months you've been so persistent about getting him to work?
It's like this. You know old John Clark?
The man you dine with so often?
Yes, friends and rivals for 30 years.
He's an ivory soap, isn't he?
Martin emphatically.
I should say he is. One of the big men there. We've fought all our lives over soap, but he's never been able to lick me. And, well, I haven't been able to lick him either.
Perhaps that's why you are such good friends.
Perhaps it is. Anyhow, as it's 50-50 in business, we've lately narrowed the fight down to a family matter. You know old John Clark has a son, too? Ellery. Nasty, egotistical, self-satisfied young puppy.
I know, I've talked to him.
Well, old Clark thinks Ellery is the prince of all modern business, and he kept pitying me so much about Rodney's being an idler, a rich man's son. It got on my nerves, so lately I made a bet with him.
A bet?
I bet him $30,000 my son could make more in a year than his son could. So I had to get Rodney busy, and he's got to make good. He can't be such a pinhead as he looks. If there's anything in heredity, there must be something of me in him, and we've got to find it. We've got to develop Rodney, dig deeper, maybe blast. If he doesn't win out...
But he will. I'm sure he will.
It isn't just the money. I guess I'm a sentimental old fool, but I'm proud. I want my son to be Rodney Martin, not just Cyrus Martin's son. And I want to show old Clark that as a judge of character, he's a bigger fool than I am. If I don't get that bet...
But you're going to. I'm sure you are.
By George, Miss Grayson, if I weren't a bit old and on the shelf, I'd marry you myself. You and I could clean up all the loose change in America.
Rodney enters right. Martin, seeing him, changes his whole attitude, rises.
I don't care to discuss the matter further, Miss Grayson. Consider yourself discharged. Good evening.
Crosses to left.
It's all right, Mary. You can have a job in my office.
Crosses to centre. Martin scornfully.
Your office, ha!
Suddenly.
Oh, my foot, my poor foot.
He limps painfully towards door.
Your office. It's a joke, young man.
Oh, you needn't laugh. I'll show you.
Crosses left centre. Martin winking at Mary.
Silence, you young puppy. Oh, my poor foot.
He exits.
Oh, Rodney.
Sits on sofa. Rodney goes upstage and passes behind sofa so that he is at the right end of sofa.
Gout's an awful thing, isn't it?
Sits on sofa.
Oh, Rodney, I'm afraid I've spoiled everything for you. Your future.
Nonsense. You've made my future. Without you, I'd never have got the idea. The big idea.
Idea for what?
The idea to make money out of. That's all you need. And just think, I found it in this book.
What idea? What book?
It's a cookbook.
What on earth?
Well, you see, when I was packing, I stumbled across this book. It fell open at this page. Fate was on the job. It was a hunch. Look.
Mary looking.
But what is it?
It's an old family recipe for making cheap soap. It says it's the cheapest soap in the world. Cheaper even than the manufacturers make it. I'm going into the soap business.
Mary amazed.
What?
Sure. Father did. Look at the money he made. Why shouldn't I?
Mary rises, goes left.
You're joking.
I'm in dead earnest. I'm going to buck the trust.
Rises.
But how can you?
I don't know. But I will. You see, I'll have all the popular sympathy. Independent young son of Soap King fights father. Don't buy from the trust.
But is that very nice to your father?
Has he been nice to me? It's great. Down with monopoly. Hurrah for the people. I've heard political speeches like that. Hurrah for the People's Soap. That isn't a bad name either. The People's Soap.
Lays book on table.
But you don't have any capital.
Rodney dejected.
I never thought of that.
You'd need a lot of money.
Rodney bracing up.
Well, I'll just have to get it. That's all. And you'll be my secretary. Of course, till I make big money, I wouldn't ordinarily have thought of taking you away from father. But as long as he discharged you, well, you work for me now. What does father pay you?
$50 a week.
I'll pay you $150.
But you don't have any money.
End of Act 1, Part 1. Act 1, Part 2 of It Pays to Advertise. by Roy Cooper Megrue and Walter Hackett. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 1, Part 2. Johnson enters from door upper left.
I beg pardon, Mr. Rodney, but Mr. Ambrose Peel is here to see you.
For the 5th time?
Rodney, puzzled.
Ambrose Peel. Oh, yes, I remember. Ask him to come in.
Yes, sir.
He exits door upper left.
Who is he?
He's got something to do with the theatre. When I was in Harvard 2 years ago, I met him one night in the lobby of the theatre. I haven't seen him since. It was the night we had our egg fight.
You and Mr. Peel?
No. The fellows threw eggs at the people on the stage. You see, it was a college play.
Did you throw eggs?
I forgot to bring any. Peel was the manager of the show and was mighty decent to me. Kept me out of jail.
Peel enters from door upper left.
Well, Rodney Martin, how are you?
To Mary.
How are you, dear lady?
How do you do, Miss Grayson? Mr. Ambrose Peel.
Ambrose Peel, that's me absolutely. Well, I'm still in show business.
To Mary.
Ever seen the Bella Broadway? Great show, great girls, great cast.
Oh, are you an actor?
Peel scornfully.
An actor? I should say not. I'm a press agent.
Oh.
But say, be sure to catch that show. It may leave the city soon. Out-of-town bookings, you know. But remember the name, the Belle of Broadway. And now, if you'll excuse me, miss, I came to talk business with Mr. Martin.
Business? Surely.
Winking at Mary.
I'm a businessman now.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you, Miss Grayson.
She exits door lower right.
Now, I'm not much on handing myself flowers across the footlights, but do you happen to remember what I did for you the night of the egg fight?
You fixed things with the chief of police and kept me from being expelled.
By George, you do remember. And you said any time you could do anything for me.
That's still true.
You're immense, son. Now it's this way. Have a chair.
He sits. Rodney does likewise.
Between you and me, the Bella Broadway is an awful thing. Business gone to pot. Something's got to be done. Some great stuff pulled off to give it a boost, and that's where you come in.
I?
You've got an aeroplane, haven't you?
Yes, but...
Then everything's all right. Now, you abduct the leading lady, Julia Clark, tomorrow night in your aeroplane, elope with her.
What?
Sure, some stunt too. Never been done. Julia'll stand for it. She's game for any press gag.
But I couldn't do that.
Certainly you can. I'm telling you, Julia'll stand for it. A bird of a story. No performance. Why? You're up in the air with the leading lady. The next night, standing room only to catch a look at the girl you're stuck on. I can see the headlines now. Soap King's son takes new star among the stars. With flashlights.
But it's out of the question.
Rises, takes chair to table.
What's the matter with it?
I wouldn't do it, that's all.
Gee, that's tough.
I'm not backing down. Anything in reason, but you see, there's someone who might object.
A girl?
Rodney nods.
Her?
Pointing to where Mary exited.
Yes.
Peel rises and puts chair back.
I guess it's cold. Girls are funny about their beau doing a little innocent thing like eloping with some other girl.
Why don't you try somebody else?
I have. You were my last card. Well, I'm fired.
Fired?
Sure, that stunt would have kept us going, but now, on the level, well, the show's so bad, people wouldn't go to see it on a pass. We'll close Saturday and I'm out.
A fake story like that would really have helped?
Helped a whole lot. Given us a fresh start, and then I'd have pulled off some new stunts and saved me job.
Oh, nonsense. If that were true, I'd feel mighty uncomfortable at not being able to oblige you. But an obvious trumped-up lie like that can't be any good.
It can't, huh?
Oh, I know it's advertising.
You bet it's advertising. What made Anna Held? Milk baths. What made Gabby Dessless? A Dago King.
But that kind of advertising can't be of real value.
Sits.
Oh, you're one of those guys who don't believe in advertising, aren't you? Now, don't get me talking advertising. That's where I live. Where I have my townhouse and country estate, my yacht and motors. That's my home. Maybe you think love is important. Piffle. Advertising, my boy, the power of suggestion, the psychology of print. Say a thing often enough and hard enough, and the other chap'll not only believe it, he'll think it's his own idea and fight for it. Some old gink, a professor of psychology, showed 40 Vassar girls the other day 2 samples of satin, 1 blue, 1 pink, same grade, same value, same artistic worth. One he described as a delicate, warm old rose, and the other a faded blue. He asked them to choose their favourite. 39 out of the 40 picked the old rose. Why? Because they'd been told it was warm and delicate. No faded blue for theirs. What did it? The power of suggestion. Advertising.
Rodney amused.
You seem to know something about it.
I not only seem to, I do. You've heard me tell that girl of yours a few minutes ago that the Belle of Broadway was the biggest hit in town. Ask her to go to the theatre. Give her her choice, and I'll bet you $4 to a fried egg she picks the Belle of Broadway. Advertising.
I don't believe it.
Well, try it, and say, what makes you go to the theatre yourself? I'll tell you. It's what you've read about the play, or what some fellows told you.
Rodney beginning to be convinced.
Why, I suppose that's true.
And what he tells you, some other guys told him. 97% of the public believe what they're told, and what they're told is what the other chap's been told. And the fellow who told him read it somewhere. When you see a thing in print about something you don't really know anything about, you come pretty near believing it. And all the advertiser has to do is tell you right, and you'll fall.
But I never read advertisements.
Oh, you don't, eh? I guess you do. If I say he's Master's voice, you know that advertiser's a phonograph. You're onto what soap it floats refers to. There's a reason. Unita, Quaker Oats, Phoebe Show, Children Cry for It, Sapolio, Grape Nuts, Peruna, The Road of Anthracite, Spearmint, Pierce Arrow, 57 varieties, Kodak, White Seal, Gold Dust Twins, he won't be happy till he gets it, Bull Durham, Pianola, Katikara, Millicrini, Clismic, Goodyear, Steinway, Thermos, Coca-Cola, the watch that makes the dollar famous. I suppose you don't know what any of them mean.
Rodney amused.
Why, I know what they all mean.
You bet you do. What kind of garters do you wear?
Why, let me see. Boston.
Exactly. What do you know about 'em? Nothing. Are they any better than any other garter? You don't know. I don't know. But all my life, every magazine I've ever looked into has had a picture of a man's leg with a certain kind of garter on it. Boston. So when I go into a store to buy a pair of garters, I just naturally say Boston. So do you. What do you know about Menon's talcum powder? Nothing, except that it has the picture of the homeliest man in the world on the box, and it so impressed your imagination you just mechanically order Menon's. If I say to you E&W, you don't think it's a corset, do you? If I say CB, you don't think it's a collar? And what about the well-known and justly famous BVDs? You don't read advertisement? Right.
But...
No but about it. Advertising's responsible for everything. When a department store advertises a $7 shirtwaist for $4, you don't believe it's on the level, do you?
No, I don't.
Neither do I, but there's a hell of a lot of women who do. When Brian advertised the grape juice highball, do you know that its sale went up 652 gallons a day?
How do you know it was 652?
I'll let you into a little secret. I don't know. I don't know a damn thing about grape juice, and as long as my health and strength keep up, I hope I never will. But if I said I'd read in a newspaper that the sale had gone up 652 gallons, you wouldn't have doubted it, would you?
No, I suppose I wouldn't.
And you'd have told someone else and he'd have believed it too. Say, do you drink much?
No.
Can you tell the difference between a vintage wine and last year's champagne? Sure you can. It costs more. Son, the world is full of bunk. 97% of the people are sheep, and you can get 'em all by advertising.
You are gradually making me come to the conclusion that you believe in publicity.
Believe in it? It's my life. What kind of eggs do you eat?
Why, hen's eggs, of course.
Why, of course? Did you ever eat a duck's egg?
Why, no.
Do you know anything against the duck?
No.
Exactly. When a duck lays an egg, it's a damn fool and keeps quiet about it. But when a hen does, my boy, clack, clack, clack all over the place. She's advertising. So you eat hen's eggs.
Oh, you're beginning to convince me.
If I'm beginning to convince you, that's advertising too. Say, are you for Roosevelt or against him?
I'm for him strong.
I'm against him. I read one paper, you read another. I think he's a faker, you think he's a great man. But does either of us really know anything about him except what we've read? Have you ever met Roosevelt, or talked to him, or known anybody who did know him? I haven't. But the point is, whatever we may think good or bad, we've heard a lot about him because he's the best advertiser in the world. And that, my son, is the whole secret of it. Get 'em talking about you, get 'em praising if you can, or get 'em cussing, but for the love of heaven, don't let 'em be quiet. Mention your name. Have 'em argue about you, boost or knock. Be a hero or a villain, but don't be a dub. Why, give me the money, a little time, a few pages of advertising, and I can sell you shares in the Atlantic Ocean.
Rodney excited.
You really believe that with proper advertising you could build up a great business?
Believe? Look around you. Everything's doing it.
And you are out of a job.
Unless you do the aero elopement.
Rodney rises.
Well, then you're out of it. Do you want to work for me?
Sure.
When can you begin?
Now?
What's your salary?
I've been getting $60, but I'm worth $75.
I'll give you 100.
What is your business? Counterfeiting?
No, it's...
Don't tell me. As long as it don't send me to State's Prison or the chair, it's all right. Could have about $25 advance on my salary now.
Is that customary?
It is with me.
Oh, all right.
He gives him the money.
Just as an evidence of good faith.
He counts money.
Well, now I'm working for you. What business are you in?
The soap business.
Peel grinning.
Nice clean business. With father?
Against him.
Oh.
My father and I have had a quarrel.
I know. Fathers are very unreasonable these days.
I'm going to fight the Soap Trust.
Well, you know, Piker, you've picked out a nice refined job. How long have you been at it?
20 minutes.
How's it going?
Fine, since I got an idea from you.
They grow all over me. Help yourself.
I'm going to get a factory. Advertise like the very Dickens. Soap King's son fights father, and licks him too, by George.
Wait a minute. Do you know why your father is the Soap King?
I suppose because he controls all the soap business in the country, except Ivory.
Exactly. And the way he keeps control of it is by buying out all his live competitors. Now here's a blue ribbon champion of the world scheme. Why don't we make good and sell out to father?
No, I don't care to do that. I want to make good myself.
Well, if your father is forced to buy you out, isn't that enough? What do you want?
I've got to be a success on my own. I've got to show father and Miss Grayson.
Peel, comprehending.
Oh, making good with the dame, eh?
You see, father says I can't earn $5 a week.
He isn't right, is he?
No, sir. You'll see.
I hope so. Pretty tough if you couldn't. Some job trying to sell soap if father's against it.
I suppose it is.
I'll tell you, why not make such a hit with the soap, advertise it so strong, he'll just have to back you.
Now that's settled. We're gonna lick father.
Yes, that's settled. What do I do?
You write the ads that make us.
It's my chance. Think, I'll never have to see the Bella Broadway again. I'll write ads, I'll conduct a campaign that'll keep your father awake, and in 3 months at the most, he'll be begging for a chance to back us.
I believe we'll do it.
Come on, let's get busy. What's the name of the soap?
It hasn't been named.
Well, what is there about it that makes it different from any other soap?
I don't know.
Well, what could there be about some soap that was different from some other soap?
Well, let's see.
Where did you get it from?
From this cookbook.
Are you kidding me?
No. Half an hour ago I decided to go into business, and I happened to find this recipe for soap in a cookbook. It's the cheapest soap in the world.
Reflecting.
That's not a bad title. The cheapest soap in the world.
A pause. They reflect.
You're wrong, son. There's an awful bunch of people that buy a lot of expensive stuff, not because it's better, but because it costs more. And the poor nuts think it ought to be better, so can that cheap stuff.
Well, how about the most expensive soap in the world?
My boy, I could kiss you. A pupil after me own heart. 50 cents a cake.
$1, and we'll make it a warm, delicate old rose.
Each cake in a separate box with a paper rose on the lid.
Great!
But what'll we call it?
Old Rose.
Rotten. Doesn't mean anything.
Let's think.
I am thinking. I'll never stop.
The soap that made Pittsburgh clean.
Too long and no good anyway, because Pittsburgh ain't clean. You need something catchy.
I had an idea a while ago. The People's Soap.
Not if you're going to catch the rich boobs.
That's true.
We need something that's universally appealing. What is it? What is it?
Rodney looking off stage toward where Mary went.
Love.
Slush.
Money?
Peel suddenly.
I've got it. Superstition. Everybody's superstitious.
Rot. I'm not.
I say there's a bit of luck for us right at the start. A pin with the head toward you.
Rodney stoops to pick it up.
See? You were gonna pick it up. Everybody's superstitious. Oh, they say they're not, just as you did. But did you ever meet a guy who, if he didn't mind walking under a ladder, didn't hate to spill salt, or else he wanted to see the moon over his right shoulder, or he picked up pins or carried a lucky coin, wouldn't do things on Friday? Why, the whole world's superstitious. Get something on that and you hit everybody. I've got 86 horseshoes home myself. I never saw a gink that would sit 13 at table. We're all crazy.
They pause and think. They both sit on end of table.
Could we?
What?
No.
They pause.
Suppose we?
What?
Nah.
Pause.
Wait, listen. The 13 soap. Unlucky for dirt.
Peel coming over and kissing Rodney on the brow.
Son, it's all over. The old man'll be on his knees in a month.
We open the office Monday.
Where's the office?
Let's get one.
With furniture and everything? Say.
Mary enters from door lower right, seeing her.
There's the dame. Ask her to go to the theatre just to prove what I say. See for yourself.
He goes upstage. Rodney turning to her.
Oh, Mary, to celebrate, let's go to the theatre tomorrow night.
I'd love to.
What do you want to see?
I hear the Belle of Broadway is very good.
Peel yawns and stretches out his arms complacently. Peel to Rodney.
I guess I don't know about advertising, eh?
To Mary.
My last official act is giving you a box for tomorrow night.
He writes.
Oh, yes. You're with that play, aren't you?
I am.
Handing her pass.
I was.
But isn't it an imposition?
Not on us, it isn't.
Thank you.
Crosses to Rodney. To Rodney.
I didn't mean to bother you, but I'm so interested. I thought, regarding Mr. Peel's business, I'd like to hear...
It's all settled, Mary. Mr. Peel, my general manager. Mr. Peel, my secretary. Mary, here it is. The 13 soap. Unlucky for dirt. The most expensive soap in the world.
Mary genuinely.
Why, that's perfectly wonderful. Who thought of it?
Looking at Peel.
I did.
Mary turning to him.
You did? Really? Why, you're splendid.
Youth, brains, efficiency. That's our motto.
We'll make $100,000 the first year. Sure.
Mary reflectively.
And 10% of that is...
What?
Mary quickly.
Oh, nothing. I was just figuring...
We're going to make our soap famous by advertising, and then force Father to back us.
That sounds bully, and at the start you won't need much capital.
Capital?
With $50,000 I can make the great American people have hysterics for the 13 soap.
$50,000, and I've got only 1,000. Oh.
Sits on chair right of desk.
Oh.
Sitting on sofa. Peel, sitting in armchair left of table.
But can't you raise it?
Rodney to Peel.
How?
Don't ask me. Raising money is the only thing I never got onto.
Peel, you're fired.
Well, it was a good job while it lasted.
Rodney rises.
Give me back that $25.
Peel rises, takes out money and returns it to Rodney.
Goodbye, old pal.
Mary rises and comes downstage between Rodney and Peel.
But couldn't you start with less?
Of course we could. Couldn't we, Peel?
Not and do it right. No use wasting money piking when you advertise. Splurge, my lad, splurge, or let it remain dormant.
I've got 1,000 in the bank. The aeroplane's worth 4. It cost 8.
Then, if you're lucky, it might sell for 2.
The motors ought to bring another 4. That'd be 7. Isn't that something?
7,000 is not to be spoken of venomously, but in advertising, well, going easy, it might last you a week.
I have
Some money?
We couldn't take money from you.
No, I know a man that might put in 5,000.
Well, that's 12.
Peel suddenly.
Does your father advertise much?
I don't think so. Does he, Mary?
Not very much. He's conservative. He doesn't believe in reckless advertising.
Nothing sensational or exciting?
No.
Why, he's licked now, and I'll tell you why. We can advertise just for your father's benefit alone.
I don't quite understand your plan.
Why, plaster this neighbourhood with 13 soap advertisements. Do the same around your father's office so that every time he went out or came in he'd see 13 soap. We could advertise only in the newspapers he reads. We'd send him circulars every mail. I could make a splurge just for him that would look like we were giving up $10,000 a day. Within a month he'd think that 13 soap was the only soap in the world.
How much would it take?
5,000 a week.
And you could land him in a month?
My boy.
And we've got 1,000, all cash, and 11,000 in prospects. Go ahead.
You mean I'm hired again?
Sure you are.
Give me back that $25.
Rodney giving it back.
Certainly.
The best thing you ever did was to engage me.
Peel, we'll be rich men.
With your money and my ideas, I'll be a millionaire.
Well, I hope I will too.
Me too.
Johnson entering from door upper left.
Countess de Bourrienne?
Oh, that dreadful woman again.
Countess entering and coming over to Rodney. To Rodney.
Vous êtes Monsieur Martin?
Rodney nods.
Yes?
Ah, cher Monsieur Martin, je suis enchantée de vous voir.
The dame's loony.
No, she's French.
Same thing.
What's all this anyhow?
She wanted to see your father, and she doesn't speak English.
Well, let her speak to me. Fire ahead.
Say, can you speak French?
Mary surprised.
Can you?
No, but I can understand it.
Going to Countess.
Fire ahead.
Eh?
Let me see. Oh, yes. Parlez?
Ah, mon Dieu! Enfin quelqu'un qui comprend français.
Oui.
Puis-je vous parler pour 5 minutes?
Oui.
Merci bien.
Oui.
You're immense, kid.
Countess quickly.
Je suis Madame la Comtesse de Bourrienne. Je désire parler à Monsieur Martin à propos des affaires du savon. Je voudrais obtenir l'agence du savon Martin pour la France.
Wait a minute.
What did she say?
She's a speedy spieler, all right.
Rodney to Countess.
Would you mind saying that over and say it slow?
Comment?
Oh, répétez, s'il vous plaît. Pas vite.
Je suis Madame la Comtesse de Bourrienne. Je désire obtenir l'agence du savon Martin pour la France. Je peux donner 50 000 francs pour cette agence. Et enfin, voulez-vous arranger cette affaire pour moi? Je suis riche. J'ai beaucoup de recommandations. Je suis bien connu à Paris.
Wait a minute.
To Peel.
She wants the agency for Father's soap for France and is willing to pay 50,000 francs for the concession.
How much is that in money?
$10,000.
Had I better tell your father?
Goes to door lower left. Rodney, inspired, crosses to Mary.
No. Why not keep Father out of this? We'll sell her the agency for the 13 soap. That'd be another $10,000 for us. Peel, she's a gift from the gods.
Goes to Countess.
She is. Go to it.
But how can you sell her your agency?
I don't know. How can I?
A pipe. Ask her if she's superstitious.
Oh, if I only knew how to talk French. Madame, êtes-vous superstitious?
Hein?
I mean, superstitious?
Countess looks blank.
She doesn't get you.
No.
Peel. He goes and takes the Countess's parasol.
Pardon me?
Starts to raise it. With a cry of protest,
Faites pas ça.
She stops him.
She's superstitious, all right.
To her.
It ought to be a pipe to land you.
Listen. Je suis le fils de Monsieur Martin. Vous savez?
Countess delightedly.
Oui.
Rodney slowly.
Nous manufacturons un nouveau savon. Si, savon trésor.
He holds up his fingers to indicate 13.
Oui.
Peel impressed.
It must be great to have a college education.
Savon trésor pas bon pour... what the deuce is dirt?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, sale. Pas bon pour sale.
Countess laughing.
Savon 13, pas bon pour sale. C'est bien.
Peel gleefully.
She likes it.
Je start. Je begin. Je commence. Une nouvelle compagnie. Les trésors. Grande compagnie de la univers. Je suis la présidente.
Je suis le advertising agent.
After laugh, Johnson enters from door upper left with a letter and exits door lower left.
I'm the whole thing, see? and if we can do business with you for the French agency.
Marie enters.
Mais non, mais non, mais non. Monsieur, je ne comprends pas.
I beg your pardon.
What is it, Marie?
Marie in French dialect.
Where is Monsieur Martin?
Marie, another gift from heaven.
Monsieur Smith, to see your father.
That's a man I might get money from.
Johnson enters from door lower left.
He's a great friend of the family. Used to dangle me on his knee and all that sort of thing.
He sees Johnson.
Oh, Johnson.
Yes, sir?
Mr. Smith is downstairs. In 1 minute, bring him up here.
Yes, sir.
He exits door upper left.
Now, Marie, tell the Countess you speak French.
Je parle français, madame.
Mon Dieu, enfin quelqu'un qui parle français. Je suis Madame la Comtesse de Beaurien, et je désire parler avec monsieur à propos des affaires du savant 13.
Marie, back at her quickly.
Ah mais oui, je comprends parfaitement. Je dirai à monsieur ce que vous avez dit. Ah, je suis ravie d'avoir trouvé aux États-Unis une compatriote avec laquelle je pourrais parler ma belle langue de France.
They talk together violently in French, and at the end of the speech, the Countess kisses Marie.
Mary, take them away. Take them into the library. Explain to Marie about the agency. Mary can translate your slang to Marie, and she can turn it into French.
I'll do my best. Come, Marie.
Crosses to door lower right and opens it.
Bring the Countess.
Madame la Comtesse, je vous montrerai le chemin.
Bien.
Marie and Countess, chattering volubly in French, followed by Mary, exit door lower right. Peel looking after them.
Paris must be a hell of a place.
I'll tackle Smith for a loan of $10,000.
Will he fall?
Rodney grandly.
My father's oldest friend. Why, the way I'll handle him, 10,000 ought to be easy.
Good luck.
Enter Mr. Smith from door upper left.
Hello, Mr. Smith. That's all now, Mr. Peel.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Winking.
He takes 50,000 shares at par.
Quite right.
Peel exits door lower right.
Who the deuce is that, Rod?
One of my staff.
Smith amazed.
One of your what?
Staff. I've gone into business.
You've done what?
I'm a businessman.
That's the funniest thing I ever heard of.
What's funny about it?
You, in business.
And as a businessman, I'd like to talk to you regarding a very interesting business proposition in which I am now interested.
Nothing doing.
Rodney gulping.
I thought I'd like to borrow say a few $1,000s.
No.
Perhaps 5,000.
If it was a new club or some tomfoolery, in a minute. But to put money into your business, it'd be just throwing it away. Why don't you get your father to back you?
Father and I don't agree on the value of advertising.
Oh, that's it. And you expect me to do what your father won't?
Well, I thought as a friend of the family.
You were wrong. Where is your father?
In there, I guess.
Indicating door lower left.
I'll bet he thinks this as funny as I do.
He exits left. Rodney sinks down dejectedly into a chair. Peel enters with contracts.
Well?
Rodney rises.
He wouldn't give me a cent.
He wouldn't? Well, he sounds like your father's oldest friend.
What about the Countess?
Peel proudly.
I got her.
You did? 10,000?
15,000.
Holy jumping Jupiter!
Pretty good, what?
Good? Why, I'll have to raise your salary.
Thanks, I supposed you would.
Where's the money?
Oh, we don't get it till next week.
Rodney dejected.
Oh.
But it's all right. We're going to sign the contract with her tonight.
But we must have some more cash to start with.
Mary entering.
The Countess wants to know how much longer she must wait.
Coming now. Sign the contract.
Sure, I'll sign anything. I'll sign it twice.
Signs.
You know, this has got the show business beat a mile.
He exits door lower right.
Oh, Rodney, did Mr. Smith lend you any money?
He did not.
Smith re-entering.
Oh, Rod?
Seeing Mary.
I beg your pardon.
That's all right. You needn't go, Mary. Mr. Smith, this is the future Mrs. Martin.
Smith crosses to Mary.
You don't say so. Well, well, 1,000 congratulations.
I suppose you and Father had your laugh.
No, I didn't tell him.
Well, thanks for that, anyhow.
Of course, it sounded funny to me at first, but when I thought things over, after all, why shouldn't you be a success in business?
Rodney amazed.
What?
You have been in everything else you've tried?
Yes, certainly, sure.
Of course, you haven't tried much, but as you said, I'm an old friend, and I figured if you gave me your word that you would return the money within a year, perhaps after all it would be only the act of an old friend to take the chance. That's what friends are for.
Why, that's simply great of you, by George!
How much was it you wanted?
Mary holds up fingers of both hands. Rodney promptly.
$10,000.
But didn't you say...
Oh, I'm sure I said 10,000. That's the very least.
Well, I'll mail you a cheque tonight.
Mary squeaks. Smith looks sharply at her. She stops. Rodney enthusiastically.
I'll never forget it. I tell you, old friends do count. Thanks.
Smith embarrassed.
That's all right. Don't thank me. Good night, Miss Grayson, and I hope you'll be very happy.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Smith exits door upper left, at door calling after him.
Oh, Mr. Smith, have you your car with you?
Smith off stage.
Yes?
Well, tell the chauffeur to drive slow and careful.
Rodney grabs Mary by her two hands and dances around excitedly.
10,000, and he lent it to me. Oh, isn't it great?
He kisses her.
Wait till I tell Peel.
Exit door right. Countess off stage to Rodney.
Oh, monsieur, c'est une affaire magnifique.
She enters, followed by Marie. To Marie.
Je vous remercie, Marie, de ce que vous avez fait. Ah, les Américains, ce sont des gens d'affaires superbes, mais les dames, oh là là, qu'elles se fichent au diable.
Exits door upper left. Mary to Marie.
What did she say?
She said the American men are splendid, but the women were crazy and they could all go to hell.
Exits door upper left.
Oh.
She goes over and knocks 3 times at door left. Martin entering.
Well, how goes it?
Oh, Mr. Martin, he's perfectly splendid. So full of energy, hustle, and ideas. He's a different man already. You were right. He only needed development.
Good. You're not saying this to flatter an old man's vanity.
Indeed I'm not. We won't have to blast.
Martin shrewdly.
Would you rather take a guarantee of 2,500 additional and give up that 10% of his profits?
I should say not.
You know, Miss Grayson, you're making me believe we'll win that 30,000 from old John Clark.
Crosses downright.
Oh, indeed we will. You should have just seen Rodney borrow 10,000 from Mr. Smith without the least trouble.
Martin smiling.
Oh, that was my money.
What?
When Smith told me Rodney tried to touch him, well, I thought the least I could do was to back my son. So I sent Smith to make good with him.
That was nice of you.
Rodney enters from door right with dress suit case.
Well, I owed the boy a chance anyhow.
Seeing Rodney, turns to him crossly.
So, you're still here, are you?
Yes, sir, but I'm going. Come, Mary.
Crosses to Mary.
Really going into business, eh? Well, when you fail, don't come sniveling back here. You can't count on $1 from me.
I won't snivel, and I won't want your money. I don't need it. Why, I'd have gone to work long ago if I'd known how easy it is to raise $10,000.
Martin grinning at Mary.
You would, eh? Well, what soft, easygoing business have you picked out?
The soap business.
Martin genuinely annoyed.
What? Why, he can't make any money out of soap.
Crosses to Mary.
That takes brains.
Oh, yes, I can.
I control all the important soap business in the country.
I know you do, but I'm going to take it away from you.
What?
Yes, sir. I'm going to manufacture the 13 soap. Unlucky for dirt, the most expensive soap in the world. I'm going to break the trust. I'm going to attack monopoly. I'm going to appeal to the American people for fair play against the soap trust. You've always wanted me to go into business. Well, I'm in. And forgive me, Father, but I'm going to put you out of business. I'm going to advertise all over the world.
You can't fight the soap trust with advertising. We're established.
Yes, we can. Think what advertising means. The power of suggestion, the psychology of print. Why, 97% of the public believe what they're told. And what they're told is what the other chaps have been told. And the fellow who told him read it somewhere. Advertising is responsible for everything. People are sheep, and advertising is the way to make them follow your lead.
He is beginning to forget the speech.
Say, what makes you go to the theatre?
Peel enters from door right. Martin starts to speak.
Don't tell me. I'll tell you. It's what you've read of the play, or what some fellow tells you. And the fellow that told him read it in a newspaper.
Remembering rapidly.
And that, my boy, is the whole secret of it. You've got to be talked about. Get 'em praising or cussing, but don't let 'em be quiet. I want to tell you, what kind of duck eggs do you eat?
Martin aghast.
What?
The curtain begins to fall.
Do you know anything against the duck? No, you don't. But when a duck lays an egg, it's a damn fool and keeps quiet. But when a hen does, cluck, cluck all over the place. Advertising.
The curtain is down. The second curtain, Peel and Rodney on either side of Martin, are talking advertising while Mary has her fingers to her ears. The third curtain, Martin is protesting angrily to Mary, while Rodney and Peel are talking gleefully to each other and shaking hands. Curtain. End of Act 1. Act 2 of It Pays to Advertise by Roy Cooper Megrue and Walter Hackett. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Pays to Advertise, Act 2. Scene: the private office of the 13 Soap Company, a rather commonplace room, furnished comfortably but not elaborately. The walls have several posters extolling the virtues of 13 Soap, such as, "Do you believe in signs?" 13 Soap is unlucky for dirt. Be clean. Cheap soap for cheap people. 13 Soap is the most expensive soap in the world, $1 a cake. There is a particularly large stand in the upstage wall bearing the legend. The average cake of soap gives you 56 washes. A cake of 13 Soap gives you only 24. But what washes! There is a door on the left and 2 more at right. At back are windows through which the audience sees the building across the street, literally covered with 13 Soap posters. There is a desk down centre, with chairs, cabinets, a hat rack, a water cooler, a safe, etc., which complete the equipment of the room. Light oak office furniture, 3 telephones, 1 on stand right, 1 on desk left, and 1 on desk centre. Shades on windows, all over carpet, 4 brackets. The time is 1 month after the first act, about 10 o'clock in the morning. The curtain rises on an empty stage. Rodney's voice heard off stage. Rodney enters from door upper right.
Forward, march.
6 sandwich men enter door upper right bearing boards. 13 Soap, unlucky for dirt.
Halt.
They stop.
Now, you understand you're all to go down to Mr. Cyrus Martin's office, 226 Broadway, and parade there all day. And tomorrow the same thing. Be in front of his house tonight at 6 sharp. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Then forward, march.
They exit through door left. Rodney goes to his desk. Business with papers, etc. Peel enters from door upper right.
Hello, little boss. Holy Peter Piper, you've shaved off your moustache.
Rodney grinning.
Yes, I'm just beginning to get on to myself. By George, I certainly used to look like the devil. Do you observe the clothes?
Peel, right centre, crosses up, removes coat and places it left of centre corner, left of desk.
Why, you're getting to be a regular businessman.
Business is great stuff. I thought it'd bore me, but it's immense. It's the best game I ever played. What's the news with you?
We only just got back from Buffalo this morning.
We?
Peel sits in chair left of desk.
Yes, your father and I. He went to the Iroquois in Buffalo. I had all the billboards in the neighbourhood plastered thick, and 48 sheet stands along the streets to the Union Station. From the time the old man got in until he got out, he couldn't look anywhere without seeing 13 Soap. I even found out the number of his room and had a small balloon floating 13 Soap streamers right outside his window. I took a page in all the Buffalo papers, bribed the hat boy to keep putting circulars in his hat every time he checked it, and sent him one of our new folders every mail. They have 8 mails a day in Buffalo. I came back with him on the train, and when he went into the washroom last night, I had the porter say, "Sorry, sir, we ain't got no 13 Soap, but you can't hardly keep any on hand. It's such grand soap."
Rises and crosses to right.
Gee, that's great.
Crosses to left.
Well, what's on for today?
I've got a bully new advertising scheme. When you go into a barber shop, where do you look?
At the manicure.
No, at the ceiling. We'll put ads on all the barber ceilings.
Peel scornfully.
Old stuff. It's been done. Is that what you call a new scheme?
Well, that wasn't my big idea.
Goes upstage, sits in chair behind desk. Peel mockingly.
No? Well, what is your big idea?
Plans for our new factory.
Plans for what? Have you gone dippy?
Here they are.
He produces large blueprint.
Pretty real looking, aren't they?
You don't mean you've actually got some nut to build us a factory?
No, they are for Father.
Oh, yes, I admit that is some idea.
Takes blueprint.
If he ever does drop in to make a deal, I thought we ought to have something to make a front. Something that looks like a plant.
Plant is right.
And by the way, if we can, let it leak out that it's the Ivory Soap people who are backing us with unlimited capital.
The Ivory Soap people?
Sure. Father's always hated them in business. His oldest friend, though, is John Clark, one of the big bugs in Ivory Soap. Clark's got a son, Ellery. That father dislikes because he's such a success in business. Always held him up to me as a model son to pattern by. It'd make Father wild if he thought that old Clark was going to back us. Ivory Soap's the only bunch he's never been able to lick.
Rises and goes down right. Peel goes down left.
Then that scheme ought to be good for a great rise out of Father.
Say, by the way, I put over a corker on him this morning. I arranged for a parade of sandwich men up and down in front of his house. I just sent another bunch to his office.
Oh, we're bound to land him sooner or later, keeping after him the way we have.
Funny, though, nobody's tried to buy any soap from us yet.
Well, it takes time to create a demand. These 200 cakes of pink Castile you bought looked swell in our old rose wrappers, didn't they?
Say, where's Miss Grayson? Have you seen her today?
No, and it's after 11.
I'll bet she was here before either of us. She always is. By George, isn't she a corker?
Peel indifferently.
Oh, she's all right.
Takes pad and pencil from pocket and sits in armchair left.
All right. Why, the girls you read about don't mean anything compared to Mary. She has got Juliet beat a mile. Every time I think of her, I want to yell or do some darn fool thing. And every time I see her, I just want to get down and kiss her shoes. I just want to walk around after her all the rest of my life and say, "Are you comfortable, my love? Are you happy? If there is anything on the whole wide earth you want, let me get it for you, Mary." What a wonderful name that is. Just like her. Simple and honest and beautiful. Mary.
Peel reflectively.
If we could only land one hard wallop on Father after that buffalo business.
Rodney indignantly.
Didn't you hear what I said?
Not a word.
I was talking about Mary.
I know you were. That's why I didn't listen.
Mary enters from door upper right with manuscripts case, hangs up hat, then goes to desk, sitting back of it centre.
Good morning.
Rodney to Mary.
Ah, you're here. Now everything's all right. It's a great world.
Don't be silly. This is a business office.
By George, Mary.
Miss Grayson.
By George, Miss Grayson, you do look simply stunning. You're twice as pretty today as you were yesterday. And tomorrow you'll be...
Hey, change the record or put on a soft needle.
Mary to Peel.
Quite right. In business hours, only business.
Takes list of assets and liabilities from case.
But you're the prettiest thing.
Never mind that. You listen to me. This firm's broke.
That we can't be.
Must be some mistake in the books.
Is it? I was surprised myself when I balanced our accounts this morning. I have here a statement of our assets and liabilities. We owe $22,818.09.
What's the 9 cents for?
What are our assets?
$133.13.
That's quite a showing for a month.
Mr. McChesney, the advertising man, was here this morning, and he won't wait any longer for his money.
But we paid him $5,000.
Mary looking at statement.
Yes, and owe him $9,400. And unless he has the $2,500 of it today, he'll put you out of business.
That's the trouble of dealing with businessmen. They're so particular about being paid. Now, you take a lot of actors.
But what about McChesney?
Yes. What are we going to do when McChesney comes here today for money? Cash?
Well, we don't do any more business with him.
No, I guess we won't.
Well, don't you worry, old son. We'll fix father somehow. Nobody can stop good advertising. Why, I met a little fellow on the train last night. He gets $50,000 a year just for writing ads. He says a good trademark is 70% of the battle, and we've got the best trademark I ever heard of.
You think we ought to keep on advertising?
Sure, if we can get credit.
I suppose we might as well owe $40,000 as 20.
Absolutely. Half of all modern advertising success is based on a good trademark, and ours is a bird.
By George, that's true. We simply have got to keep going. We'll manage somehow.
I like to hear you say that.
Now you're talking. We'll conduct the greatest campaign since George W. Advertising was a young man.
Miss Burke entering with one letter from door upper right.
Here's the morning mail.
Rodney takes letter, returns front of desk. Miss Burke exits right.
Pretty heavy mail.
Coming down left of Rodney.
I'll bet it's another bill.
Coming down right of Rodney.
Hurrah! Hurrah! It's from the Countess.
What does she say?
Peel grabbing letter and looking at it.
Oh, French stuff.
She says she was delayed abroad, but that she's due today on the Imperator, or Rotter, or whatever you call it, this morning, and that she's coming to see us at 11.
It's 11:30 now. Oh, dear.
Fear not. Remember, though a countess, she is still a woman. Give her time.
Does she say anything about the $15,000?
No.
Well, I've got a hunch everything's going to be all right, or she wouldn't have written us at all.
Her $15,000 will keep us going for quite a while.
Miss Burke entering from door upper right.
Mr. McChesney is here to see you.
The advertising man.
Goes to typewriter desk and pounds on it.
He seems very angry too.
Tell him I'm out.
Goes to chair behind desk and sits. McChesney entering from door upper right.
Thought I'd come right in instead of waiting to have her tell me you were out.
Going to Rodney. Miss Burke exits. Rodney genially.
Why, hello, Mr. McChesney.
Peel trying to shake hands.
How are you, Mac?
McChesney throwing him off.
You may be in the soap business, but cut out the soft soap with me. Where's my money? Have you got it?
Why, The fact is...
That means you haven't.
Well, you see...
That doesn't go with me. Do you think you can put me off? You can bet your blooming liabilities you can't. I think this whole concern is bunk, and I'm going after you good.
I don't care for that kind of loud talk. Drop it.
Drop it.
McChesney surprised.
What?
He said, drop it.
It's simply that I haven't had time to examine your bill in detail. This afternoon, however,
I've heard that before. Now see here, Mr. Martin. Your father's an honest man. He won't stand for his son not paying me my money. I'll see him now.
He starts for door.
Wait a minute. I'll give you a check for $2,500 on account. I presume that will be satisfactory?
McChesney taken aback.
Why, yes, sure, but...
You understand, Mr. Peel, that not a cent of that $50,000 we appropriated for our October advertising campaign is to go to him.
Absolutely.
Now, Mr. Martin, I'll admit I'm hasty-tempered. I'm sorry I made a mistake, but a contract is a contract and...
Here's your check. Good day.
But, Mr. Martin...
Show Mr. McChesney out.
Peel goes to McChesney, takes his arm and leads him to door upper right.
Come on, Mac. This way to the elevator.
Delighted.
Watch your step.
Mr. McChesney exits, Rodney gleefully.
Well, I fixed him, didn't I?
Mary rises and goes to Rodney.
No, you've only got us into more difficulty. You know there's no money in the bank.
But the check won't go through the clearinghouse until tomorrow morning, and by then we'll have the $15,000 from the Countess.
But where is the Countess?
I'll go telephone now to see if the Imperator's docked yet.
I'll bet she sank in mid-ocean.
Miss Burke entering.
Mr. Ellery Clark to see you.
How I hate that fellow.
What have you ever done to him?
Nothing. I wish I could. That's the fellow I told you about, John Clark's Pride.
Oh, yes, the son of Ivory Soap. Let's have a peek at him.
Yes, sir.
She exits.
I never saw a model son before.
Mary, she starts down right.
Oh, Rodney, find out how Ellery's doing in business, will you?
Oh, I suppose so.
Mary exits door lower right. Peel crosses to armchair left.
You're spoiling that girl. She used to be a good businesswoman. Now half the time, instead of using her brains, she just sits and looks at you as if you were some marvellous antique work of art.
Sits. Ellery enters door upper right.
Hello, Rodney. Mind if I come in?
I'm very busy today, Mr. Clark.
Oh, I suppose you are. Must take a lot of time to get up your advertisements.
Peel rises, goes to Ellery and offers hand.
You like 'em? I write 'em. My name's Peel.
Goes back to chair left, sits. Ellery, turning from him, bored.
How do you do?
Sits in armchair right.
What is it, Mr. Clark?
You see, it's like this, old top. I've been having rather a time with father lately, silly old man. Insisted on the absurd idea of my going into business. Beastly bore.
But you wanted to do that?
I should say not.
But I thought you loved work.
It's a preposterous idea. Men of intelligence go in for the professions. I paint.
Peel half aside.
You look it.
I'd heard you were a model son.
But I don't consider it a compliment to be a success in business. Think of all the blighters who are.
Yes, the bally rotters.
Father keeps reminding me of your success every day. Most irritating. You see, of course, he's sore because I never bothered much about business. Oh, I have tackled a thing or two, but luck was always against me. It just happened it didn't work out right. Not my fault, you understand.
You couldn't be to blame.
Of course, if I ever devoted myself to business, but after all, when you know you can do a thing you want to, why bother to do it if it bores you?
Yes, life is a damn nuisance.
Ellery sighing.
And Father has been so offensive lately, I decided to give a little time to business and make a success of it. I can, you know.
Indeed.
Seems simple.
Oh, rather. I have it all figured out. For my scheme, I've got to raise $7,500, and I wanted to talk to you about it. This idea of mine is an automobile proposition. I really need $10,000, and I've only got $2,500.
Rodney and Peel exchange looks and walk over to Ellery, one on each side of him.
Ellery, why do you want to go into the automobile business? It's dangerous, unsafe.
The risk's tremendous.
Ellery, our families are old friends. Now, if you really want to show your father you're a money maker, why don't you buy some shares in our company?
I don't care much about the idea of being in the soap business. Rather vulgar.
But you don't have to be in the business.
Absolutely not.
It's a very simple proposition. All you do is invest, and then sit still and deposit your checks when we pay dividends.
I say, that sounds a bit better.
We're not letting the general public in, but it'd be such a joke on your father for you to make money.
Yes, wouldn't it? I fancy he'd be mighty glad I had sense enough to go in with you.
Yes, wouldn't he?
But is it a safe investment?
Why, we'd guarantee you against loss from our assets.
Yes, from our assets.
Well, that sounds rather ripping. But what would I get for my $2,500?
A receipt?
I know, but what interest in the business?
2.5%.
I say, is that much?
Think what 2.5% in the Steel Trust would mean.
And more people use soap than steel.
Ellery wisely.
Isn't steel dearer?
It's quantity that counts.
4 cakes a year to every person in this country would represent an annual output of 400 million cakes. And think of all the babies who'll be born next year. They'll all have to be washed.
Very true, very true. What is the annual birth rate?
Let me see. Do you know, Peel?
There's one born every minute.
I fancy that's true.
You can bet it is.
Now, what do you say, Ellery, about investing in our company?
Ellery, after a long pause, rises and shakes hands with Rodney.
I'll do it.
God's in his heaven, all right's with the world.
Crosses left.
Have you the money with you?
Why, no.
Then you'll send us a cheque today?
I don't get the money until next week.
Why not?
Father didn't promise it to me till next Monday.
We'll ask him for it now.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't. He's out of town.
We can't agree to hold the matter open until next Monday.
Goes to chair behind desk and sits.
No, not the way next Monday. Why don't you telephone him?
Yes, that wouldn't be so distressing, if I can get him. I find him considerably easier to talk to on the phone. I can always ring off.
Come this way. It'll be quieter for you if he's noisy.
Goes to Ellery, takes his arm, and leads him to door lower right. Mary enters door lower right.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Clark?
Oh, how do you do?
They shake hands, Peel pushing him out.
Never mind the social chatter. Ellery, you don't mind my calling you Ellery, do you, Ellery?
To her.
You see, Ellery has work to do.
Exit Ellery. Mary goes to left.
If that's a model son, thank God I was born a black sheep.
Rodney to Mary.
Has the Imperator docked?
3 hours ago.
Then I'll bet the Countess has been hit by a taxi.
Drinks.
Oh, Rodney, did you find out how well Ellery's doing?
Oh, great. Hasn't made a cent. Wanted to borrow some money from me.
Your father'd be glad to hear that.
Oh, where is our wandering Countess?
Crosses to left. Miss Burke entering.
The Countess de Boreen.
By golly, she enters on the queue.
We're saved now.
Oh, I do hope so.
Get her right in here. Quick.
Miss Burke exits. Ellery sticking his head in at door.
How do you use this phone? I've never run a switchboard.
Oh, I'll come show you.
Crosses to right.
Oh, thank you. I'm not much at mechanical problems.
He exits. Rodney to Mary as she goes.
And get his father for me. It may mean $2,500 more for us.
Peel runs to door right, shouting to Mary.
Do anything! Hold his hand! Kiss him!
She exits. To Rodney.
Do you need an interpreter for the Countess?
Rodney, as he speaks, goes over and pulls down a shade on which is painted an advertisement in French.
I can understand anything she says about money. You can help me count it.
That's the greatest sensation I know.
Crosses to left. Miss Burke announcing.
The Countess de Boreen.
Countess sweeps in. Rodney, delighted, goes to her and kisses her hand.
Ah, bonjour, bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Rodney pointing to window shade.
Regardez.
Ah, magnifique, superbe, superbe. Je suis désolée d'être si en retard, mais c'est très compliqué à la douane.
Coming down in front of desk.
Not at all.
Going to her.
Not at all.
Going to her. Countess threatening.
Vous avez reçu ma lettre?
Letter? Yes, I got your letter.
Peel leaning forward eagerly to her.
Oh, you little lifesaver.
Rodney to her.
Mon manager? You remember.
Je suis enchantée de vous revoir.
Peel bows very low.
Kiss her hand. It's French stuff.
Peel kisses her hand.
She looks like money. Ask her, ask her.
Rodney nervously.
You have the money?
Eh?
Peel snapping his fingers.
Come on, kid, say yes, say yes.
Vous avez argent?
Oui, oui, j'ai l'argent.
What does she say?
She says yes.
Shall I kiss her?
Do you want to spoil everything? Don't kiss her till we get the money. The money with you?
Hein?
Argent avec vous?
Oui, j'ai l'argent ici.
Opening bag and taking out cheque.
It's real.
C'est un chèque de Morgan Harges pour 100,000 francs.
Rodney looking at it.
Draft for $20,000 in full payment for French rights of the 13 soap.
Je vous donnerai ce chèque pour 20 000 $, mais comme je vous ne dois que 15 000, vous pourrez me donner votre chèque pour 5 000. Cela finira notre affaire.
Slip it to me, kid, slip it to me. I'm dying on me feet.
Takes cheque from Rodney.
She says she'll give us the draft for $20,000, but as she only owes us $15,000, we must give her back our check for $5,000.
That seems simple. Give her the check.
But we haven't any money in the bank. Suppose we get her check cashed first. Then we can pay her.
Sure, great. I'll go right over to the bank to get it certified.
Countess takes cheque from Peel and tears it up.
What's the matter with you? What's the matter?
Countess is smiling.
She's crazy.
Ah, mais non, l'affaire c'est fini maintenant.
Talk French to her.
Pourquoi? Tear it up. Pourquoi? Pourquoi?
Gee, but you're funny.
She spoke English. She's a fake.
Rodney and Peel stare at her speechless, Peel pointing toward the draft.
The draft was phony too.
Countess smiling.
Sure it was.
But what's the idea, kid?
Countess sits on desk.
You see, I was going to trim you out of your $5,000 check, but as long as you haven't any money, your check's no good, so you've busted up my whole scheme.
But why pick on us?
I didn't start out to. You wished it on yourselves. I came to trim your father. You remember I wanted to see him, but I looked so soft you thought you'd grab me off and sell me the French agency of your 13 soap. I didn't think your father could be as big a boob as you were, so I changed my plans. Do you get me?
Yes, I getcha, and now I'm gonna get the cops to getcha.
Starts upstage. Countess laughs, crossing down left.
I should burst into laughter. Why, you pikers, I'm on. You're busted. You haven't any money and you have got a phony company.
Now see here.
Goes to her.
Preserve it, preserve it.
Crosses to centre.
Don't forget, I've understood everything you two guys were talking about.
Phew.
Sits in armchair right.
Gee.
Goes to armchair left. Countess to Rodney.
Kiss her hand, it's French stuff.
To Peel.
Ah, there, you little lifesaver.
To Rodney.
The money with you? Argent avec vous? Gee, your French is rotten.
To Peel, who moves away.
Shall I kiss her?
A pause.
Send for the cops, and I'll blow the whole thing to the papers.
A pause.
Well, I guess we're quits. If you had any money, I'd ask for a piece of change to keep me quiet. But as it is, I can't waste my time.
Rodney rises.
You're not French at all.
I was educated over there. Immense, wasn't I? You never tumbled at all.
Peel rises.
But why the foreign stuff?
Well, I can talk good French, but my English is punk.
Sits on desk.
You won't say anything now.
No, I don't hit a fellow when he's down. Anyhow, we're all in the same class. 3 fakes.
She has spilled the beans.
Great Scott! And McChesney has our check for $2,500.
Peel to Rodney.
Gee, we will just have to get that $2,500 from Ellery.
What happened to Ellery? Let's find him.
They start for door right.
If he falls down on us.
Ellery entering.
Can I see you a moment?
I should say you could.
You seem very beastly pleased, Ellery.
Oh, I am.
Then everything's all right about father?
Oh, yes, so to speak, in a way.
Ah.
Peel suddenly suspicious.
What do you mean, so to speak, in a way?
Well, I couldn't reach the old man on the phone, and that did make matters so much easier. I don't fancy talking to father on the phone.
Why couldn't you reach him?
Ellery smiling happily.
Why, he's on his yacht somewhere on the Sound. He won't be home till Monday, so I can't possibly get the money for you today.
Rodney and Peel walk upstage while the Countess drops her handkerchief. Ellery picks it up and smiles back delightedly at her. Mary enters from door lower right.
Look out, McChesney's coming back here. I just saw him across the street.
Try and keep him out.
I'll do my best.
She exits door upper right.
Ellery, you'll have to go. We've got a big job on our hands. Au revoir, Countess.
Au revoir, monsieur.
With marked accent.
Is there no one to see me to my taxi? These American buildings are so big I am lost.
Ellery, you take the Countess.
Oh, I'd love to.
Madame la Comtesse de Barillon. Ellery Clark.
Delighted.
So am I.
Rodney opens door lower left.
You can go out the private entrance.
Ellery going toward left.
Oh, certainly.
Countess as they go.
You speak the French?
No, not at all.
Ah, pity.
But I can speak German.
Aber prachtvoll. Ich habe die deutsche Sprache so furchtbar gern.
Ich auch.
Warum laden Sie mich nicht zum Bildmoor zum Tee ein?
Mit dem größten
Vergnügen?
Ellery relieved.
Yes, that's the word. Vergnügen.
I believe there's a Berlitz in her family somewhere.
Au revoir, Monsieur Martin.
Turning to Rodney.
Vous êtes trop aimable. Je vous remercie beaucoup de votre politesse. Au revoir.
Goes to Peel in undertone.
So long, kid. Call me up sometime.
And then, chattering a stream of German to Ellery, they exit door left. Rodney closes door after Countess exits.
Well, I've got to hand it to her. The Countess is a fake. Ellery is a flivver, and McChesney's on his way here with that phony check.
Goes to his chair behind desk.
I can see Sing Sing from here.
Goes to chair left corner, sits quickly. McChesney bursts in, followed by Mary.
No, I won't wait. You're two swindlers. I've just come from the bank. Your check's no good.
No good? That's impossible.
Absolutely.
You haven't any money in the bank.
It must be some mistake on the part of our cashier.
Yes, it is. Ask him.
He's at lunch.
I'm going to the sheriff now, and unless you make the check good at my office in an hour, I'm going to cancel your advertising, cover up your billboards, and send you both to jail. And that goes.
He exits.
Can't you pay him?
With what?
What happened to the Countess? Didn't she give you the money?
No. And she nearly got us for $5,000.
What?
She's a fake.
The swindler! And the man from the Edison Company is here to say that unless they get some money at once, they'll cut off the current from all our signs, and the agent of the landlord is waiting for the rent. He seems very suspicious and wants to be paid for last month right away. What can I say to them?
Rodney shakes his head.
I don't know.
Oh, please send for your father and give in.
No.
You know I want you to succeed, but there's no use in fighting odds like these. You haven't any money. You're way in debt, and you mustn't be disgraced. Please, send for your father. I'm sure he'll help you.
I wonder if I'd be better. What do you think, Peel?
I don't know.
Do telephone him right away.
Crosses to door lower right.
Now, I must try to fix the Edison man and the landlord, or they'll be in here.
To Peel.
What can I say to them?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll say you're both out.
She exits door lower right.
That'll be a new one.
Do you happen to know the sheriff?
Not yet. I'd like to have a pull enough to get a cell with a southern exposure.
What are we going to do?
I don't know.
What are you here for?
I know, but I can't think.
Miss Burke entering.
Mr. Cyrus Martin to see you.
Who?
Mr. Cyrus Martin.
Have him wait.
Have him what?
Rises and goes to Rodney.
Just a minute till I think. When I ring, show him in.
Yes, sir.
She exits.
He must be here to make a deal. Our scheme's worked. We've put it over. And what did it? Advertising.
But Father's no fool. We've got to be very careful how we'll handle it. I'm not used to putting it over on Father.
Don't forget the factory and the ivory soap people and the plans, and get busy, you know.
He makes motions and brings letter file from rack and throws contents on desk.
That rubber stamp stuff.
But isn't this playing it rather low down on Father?
Oh, don't get cold feet now.
We really haven't anything to sell him.
Yes, we have. A trademark. You know it's good, so do I. We only need your father to back us, and we'll make a lot of money for him in spite of himself.
I guess that's true.
Sure it is. And anyhow, all's fair in love and business.
Ellery coming in at private door left.
Oh, I beg pardon, but I was so fascinated at meeting the Countess I forgot my stick.
Can't see you now, Ellery.
He goes over and pulls down 2 window shades on which are painted ads of 13 soap. Peel giving him gloves.
No, can't ever see you again, Ellery. Here's your cane. Now hurry, Ellery.
He starts to lead him to door.
The Countess is perfectly delightful.
Rodney suddenly goes to Ellery.
Hold on, Ellery. Can you wait in there 5 minutes?
Ellery pausing.
But the Countess is downstairs in a taxi.
Oh, she'll wait for you, and charge the taxi to Mr. Peel. He'll be right in and explain everything to you.
Oh, yes, I'll explain.
I don't want to detain the Countess too long. Hate to keep a lady waiting, all that sort of thing. You know what women are.
He exits left.
Now what is it? What do you want that gink for?
Don't you see?
Nah, I'm nearsighted.
He's the son of Ivory Soap. Coach him with some important message from old John Clark to us about a merger. And when Father begins to wobble, have Ellery come in with that message. That'll send Father kerflop to the mat.
Peel going.
Master! Great, I get you. I'll fix Ellery. This is your father's Waterloo.
At door.
As soon as I've taught Ellery his lesson, I'll be right back. I'll tell him, when we ring the bell twice, to bust in with his little recitation.
But don't let him get on to our game.
He couldn't get on to anything but a weighing machine.
He goes out left. Rodney pushes the buzzer and then takes up the phone, keeping his eye on the door. In a moment, Cyrus Martin enters.
No, much obliged, but we can't consider it. No stock for sale. It's quite out of the question. Goodbye.
Ringing off, and then pretending to be surprised, turns and sees his father.
Oh, why, hello, Father.
Hello, son.
Rodney gets very busy with papers and rubber stamp.
Sit down, won't you? Be with you in just a minute.
Martin dryly.
Thanks.
Rodney very busy again with filing papers and opening and closing drawers. Martin looks at him in astonishment.
Have a cigar?
He abstractedly passes him a box.
Thanks.
He bites off end and lights it, and as he does so, Rodney again gets busy with similar business.
Surprised to see me, I suppose?
Oh, not a bit.
He starts signing a contract. Martin, who has risen, attempts to glance at it, and as he does so, Rodney calmly turns it over and blots it. Martin turns away.
There, that's done. Now, Father, what can I do for you?
Well, my boy, I just dropped in for a social call. The fact is, I've rather missed you.
I've missed you too, Father.
Martin abruptly.
Thought I'd have a look in and see how things were going.
Sits in armchair right.
Fine, fine. Everything's breezing right along. Of course, I'm always glad to see you. But right now, Father, I'm pretty busy. So you'll excuse me if...
He gets busy again with rubber stamp. Martin, with a certain sarcasm.
Well, if you can spare the time, I'd like a little business talk with you, Rodney.
Certainly. In just a minute.
Gets busy with papers, pushes the buzzer. Peel entering.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, that's all right. Come right in. Father, you remember Mr. Peel? Peel, my father?
Indeed, yes, I recall very well.
Martin, gruffly cutting him off.
How are you?
Peel, sitting in chair left.
A bit tired. Just back from Buffalo, where I've been conducting a big campaign.
Then it is to you I should address myself?
Either or both of us.
Martin rises and goes to desk.
Then both of you listen to me. You've got to cut out this nonsense you call advertising.
What nonsense?
Peel weakly.
Yes, what?
This morning, there was a parade of sandwich men in front of my house for 2 hours. I had to have them arrested. I got to the office to find another bunch. It annoys me.
I'm sorry, Father.
You're trying to make a fool of me. I open a letter, it's a circular for 13 soap. I open my newspaper, you have a page ad. I look out of the window, there's a billboard. I take a train, the damn porter apologizes because he's all out of 13 soap.
Well, of course, all that proves how wonderful our publicity is.
Martin grimly.
You're a grand young bluff, my son.
My father, what do you mean?
I'll tell you exactly what I mean. I've let you ramble on to see just how far you would go, but you've been spending a lot of money on ridiculous advertising, hoping that by annoying me I'll buy your business to get rid of you. Well, I'm not going to. Now, what have you got to say to that, eh? Eh?
Peel rises quickly.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sits. Rodney quickly.
But I have a lot to say. We may not have a big business now, but we have got a trademark, the catchiest trademark ever invented for soap. We're a growing concern. Just because our advertising annoys you, you mustn't think it's valueless. Why, it's so good that capital is chasing us. Our money is practically unlimited. Is that a fair statement, Peel?
Peel, dazed at Rodney's bluff.
Very fair. Very fair indeed.
Bluff, son, bluff.
Not at all. And since you're so skeptical, Father, I don't mind letting you see the plans for our new factory.
Takes plans from desk.
New factory?
Yes, Father. These are the offices. This is Miss Grayson's office. This is Mr. Peel's office. And this is mine.
Well, aren't you going to make any soap?
Right here, where our capacity will be.
Who's putting up the money?
Rodney reprovingly.
Now, Father, you cannot expect me to divulge a business secret to you, a rival manufacturer.
Oh, why not tell him he is your father?
Well, Peel, if you really think it is wise.
Oh, yes, I think it's quite wise.
It's the Ivory soap people.
Martin at once impressed and annoyed.
The ivory soap people.
Peel rises and goes to desk, rubbing it in.
Yes, the ivory soap people.
You mean John Clark?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Martin turns and reflectively walks upstage. Peel very obviously picks up push button and pushes buzzer twice. It rings off left. There is a pause, and then in a moment Ellery enters.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't know your father was here.
Rodney very genially.
That's all right, Ellery.
Peel the same.
Come right in.
How do you do, Mr. Martin?
Martin gruffly.
How are you, Ellery?
Well, I really can't wait any longer. The party downstairs in the taxi. You follow me?
Yes, Ellery, you told us that.
Well, goodbye then.
Was that all you came in to say?
Ellery remembering.
Oh, yes, of course. If you'll keep it open until Monday, I'll get the money for you then.
But we can't wait till Monday.
But Mr. Peel told me.
Peel interrupting quickly.
We'll see what we can do, but just now, Ellery, we're very much occupied.
He has him by the arm.
Oh, just a minute. You better give your father back the plans. Say they're quite satisfactory.
Gives plans to Peel.
What plans?
Don't you know?
No.
That's too bad. Well, goodbye, Ellery.
I say, I do find business very confusing.
He exits. Peel as he comes back.
Ellery talks too much.
He is very indiscreet. If it had been anybody but father, he'd have given our whole plan away.
What's he doing here? Acting for his father?
Absolutely.
You're not going to take him in. That pinhead? Why, he didn't even seem to know what he was trying to get at.
No, he didn't, did he?
But after all, he does represent ivory soap.
Great soap, Ivory. Over 99% pure.
Sits in armchair left. Martin grunting.
Ivory soap.
He walks up and down while Rodney and Peel exchange gleeful glances. After a considerable pause.
Well, thinking things over, why should you and I fight?
You began it, father.
Quite true, and therefore I should be the one to call it off. Now, son, here's the idea. I'd rather have you with me than again me. The money doesn't matter much. In your way, while I don't endorse that kind of publicity, I suppose you boys think your sensational ads are good.
Peel rising.
Thank you, sir.
Not at all.
To Rodney.
And if you're going to have a backer, wouldn't I be better than the ivory soap people?
After all, blood is thicker than business. What do you suggest?
Suppose I buy you out, including your trademark and goodwill.
Oh, you have our goodwill now, sir.
Rises and bows very profusely, then sits. Rodney reflectively.
Buying us out might be expensive for you, father.
Oh, I guess it won't take all the money I've got. What's your proposition?
What's yours?
Well, I'll give you $50,000 for your business as it stands.
But we don't want to give up our business. I like business.
Peel grandly.
We wish to continue in our chosen profession.
Well, suppose you take 25% of the profits in addition.
It's a wonderful autumn, isn't it? These crisp, cold, bracing mornings.
Well, I hardly thought you'd grab at that. What will you take?
Rodney rising quickly.
$100,000 cash. You assume all the contracts and obligations of this company, give us 40% of the profits, a contract for me at $20,000 a year, for Miss Grayson at 10,000.
Peel coughs.
And another for Mr. Peel at the same figure.
Done.
Shakes hands with Rodney. Peel and Rodney exchange looks and shake hands.
I congratulate you, Father.
You needn't. Your trademark might appeal to a lot of superstitious idiots, but as a business proposition, I don't think much of it. But now I'll show old John Clark he can't butt into my family's affairs or get Ellery mixed up with my boy's business.
Yes, Father. We much rather have you than Ellery.
Oh, much rather.
Miss Burke entering.
Oh, Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Yes?
Rodney going to her.
That's for me, Father.
To Miss Burke.
What is it?
The agent for the landlord says he's got to see you immediately.
Rodney motioning her to be quiet.
I'll be right out.
To Martin very nervously.
You see, Father, we're thinking of taking larger offices. Come, Peel. We'll be right back, Father.
Yes, Father, we'll be right back.
They hurriedly exit. Martin stands there watching them proudly. Miss Grayson enters door lower right.
Hello, Miss Grayson. It's mighty good to see you again.
Oh, Mr. Martin, I'm so glad Rodney finally sent for you.
Martin surprised.
Sent for me?
Goes in front of desk.
Have you talked with him?
Oh, yes. He just went out for a minute to see the agent of the landlord.
Oh, then he told you about that.
Goes to him. Martin puzzled.
Yes, he told me. Why not?
I am so glad to think he wasn't ashamed to tell you the truth.
Oh, Rodney always was a truthful lad.
Oh, I'm so happy you've settled with him. You have settled, haven't you?
Goes to armchair right.
Yes, sure.
Oh, good. Isn't it wonderful for him?
Very sweetly.
Just think, without you he couldn't have lasted out the day.
Crosses down in front of desk.
Couldn't have lasted out the day? Then our little scheme to put Rodney on his feet didn't work?
But everything's all right now. You're going to help him.
Everything's great now?
Knocked off his feet, then recovering himself.
Oh. By the way, in our negotiations, the one thing that Rodney didn't fully go into was the nature of the assets.
The assets, they must have made even you laugh. Why, we haven't any.
She laughs. Martin trying to laugh.
Haven't any? By the way, there was a report on the street today that the Ivory Soap people were going to make a deal with Rodney. Build him a factory.
Mary innocently.
Oh, there's nothing in that.
Are you sure? As I got here, I thought I saw Ellery Clark leaving.
Oh, he didn't come here on business. Ellery came to borrow some money from Rodney. Isn't that funny?
Oh, yes, very funny. But the plans?
Rodney showed you some plans? He must have been joking.
Martin changing his whole manner.
The young scoundrel.
Starts to go upstage.
What?
Martin stops.
Thank you, Miss Grayson, for telling me. Do you know what he tried to do to me? Hold me up for $100,000. Make me think Ivory Soap was backing him, too. And, but for you, he'd have succeeded.
What have I done?
You saved me a lot of money and kept me from being a fool. Thank you. Good morning.
Starts for the door upper right.
You mean at last he'd succeeded in getting you to back him?
At last.
Coming to her, lays hat on desk.
So that was his scheme all the time, was it? He didn't go into business on the level, but just for my benefit? And you were helping him. Well, he can thank you again for having failed,
It's all my fault.
Yes, it is, from the start. You got the plan of my pretending to put him out of the house.
Oh, but I tell you, you must help him.
Help him yourself. You've got $5,000.
But I gave it to him.
My son took money from you?
He didn't know. I pretended it was from a friend.
Well, you got him in. Now you can get him out.
But your bet. You bet $30,000 with John Clark. You don't want to lose that.
Well, if Ellery's trying to borrow money from Rodney, it looks like an even break. And anyhow, I'd lose the bet twice over rather than have my son think he could make a fool of his father.
But he is a good businessman. He'd make you proud of him. You don't know how hard he's worked, how fine he's been. He's simply wonderful. If he could keep on a little longer, I know he'd succeed. If you'll just help him, he'll make money. You'll see he will.
Of course you want him to make money. You're thinking of that percentage contract with me.
I'm not. Oh, I'm not. I can't see him fail. Listen, I'll try to give you back what you've given me. I don't care anything about the contract. I'll tear it up now if you'll just help him.
By George! I believe you really are in love with him.
Mary proudly.
Yes, I am. Now, but that doesn't matter. We've got to save him. Save his business.
I won't give him a nickel. Goodbye.
Starts to go.
But you can't go like this. He'll be disgraced. He's in debt.
Let him get out of it. It'll do him good. I've been a sentimental fool. I made it all too easy for him.
Coming down right.
But that's your fault too.
Yes, it is, and I don't propose to repeat the error. He's lied to me all the way through. We'll let him face the truth. Now we'll see what he's made of.
Rodney and Peel enter. Rodney coming in.
Well, we're going to move.
Goes to desk and sits.
Yes, nice chap, that fellow.
Coming down right.
Well, Mary, have you heard about our deal?
The deal's off.
But...
Sits in armchair left. Rodney back of desk.
Off?
Off?
Goes upstage to window.
Yes, off.
But why? Why?
Because you took me for a bigger fool than I am. My own son can't do that to me. I've found out now that you're broke.
Oh, Mr. Martin!
Martin stopping her.
No.
To Rodney.
And all the time you were lying to me about the ivory soap people and the factory they were going to put up. You thought you could make an ass of me, get the best of me, did you? Well, you can't. I'm finished with you and your 13 soap. You've got a swelled head, you're a smart aleck, you're a complete fake, you're a cheat, young man.
Rodney in utter dejection.
I guess you're right.
Martin with satisfaction.
Ah!
I did try to be smart. I was stuck on myself. I thought business was a cinch. But you're right. I have been a fake. This whole thing never seemed real. It was just fun. Like a game. But I've waked up, and now it's serious. I tried to get the best of you, but I'll take my licking. I don't want any charity. I know what's coming to me, and I'll take my medicine.
Martin relenting a little.
Well, maybe I've said a little too much.
No, it's all true.
But see here, I don't want you disgraced.
You told me never to come back to you for a nickel, and I won't. I told you, too, that I won't snivel. Well, I'm not going to. Goodbye, Father.
Now, see here.
Please, Father, it's up to me and nobody else to get out of this. Please go.
He holds out his hand. Martin gently.
Goodbye, son.
He shakes his hand. He exits. Rodney sits in chair dejected. Peel coming down to Rodney.
Now see here, little boss.
Peel, I'm sorry, but you're fired.
Peel coming over and putting hand on his shoulder.
Say, little boss, you can't fire me. I'm just going to stick around, whatever happens.
Mary touches Peel on the arm and motions him to go out. He nods understandingly and exits upper right. Mary comes to Rodney.
Oh, Rodney, it was all my fault. Your father had no idea of the truth. I didn't understand. I thought you sent for him to help you. I told him about our company. I did it all. Betrayed you.
But you didn't mean to. It's all right, Mary.
You forgive me?
Why, of course. I love you.
Oh, Rodney, I'm so sorry.
Rodney, changing completely, rises.
But if Father thinks just because he laced it into me, I'm licked, he's wrong. Maybe I have been a fake, but by George, I won't be any longer.
Goes down right.
You're really going on?
Goes down left.
When I've got you, you bet I am. Say, do you really think a long speech from Father and no money to work with are enough to stop me? No, sir. What Father said got me for a minute, but I'm not a quitter, and I'll prove it. There must be something of Father in me. I can't be such a pinhead as I look. I'll get out of this mess the best way I can, and then I'll shine shoes or sell peanuts. I'll start at the bottom instead of finishing there. I'll make money.
Oh, Rodney, now I am proud of you.
She kisses him unexpectedly and heartily. Rodney overjoyed.
What? That's the first time you ever really kissed me. All by yourself. Like that. By George, you must love me.
You bet I do.
She kisses him again, and they clinch as Peel enters excitedly, coming down right. Peel entering.
So I didn't mean to interrupt.
Rodney still with Mary in his arms.
Nothing in the world can interrupt me. What is it?
A telegram. It's the first we've ever received, and I was afraid to open it.
Mary, taking it, looks at it nervously.
What awful thing can it be?
Goes in front of desk.
Gee, I wonder what it says.
Crosses to her.
Read it.
Crosses to her. Mary having opened it.
Rodney Martin, President 13 Soap Company, 226 Broadway.
Go on, we know the address.
Ship at once. Collect 50,000 cakes, 13 soap. Marshall Field, Chicago.
Somebody really wants to buy some soap?
I don't believe it.
Mary handing Rodney the telegram.
But here it is.
Rodney reading.
50,000 cakes. It's true.
We've started. We've begun. We're actually going to sell some soap.
The tide's turned. Didn't I tell you advertising pays? We'll sweep the country. Europe, Asia, Africa. Go in with Father? Not for $1 million.
Starts upstage.
I'll write Marshall Field right away.
Starts for door upper right.
Go ahead.
Mary suddenly.
Great heavens!
What is it?
What's happened?
That order is no good.
What?
Coming down right.
Why?
Coming down left.
We can't fill it. We've never made any soap.
Stand staring at each other aghast.
What'll we do?
Let's think.
They sit staring straight ahead. Rodney sits in chair left. Mary sits on table. Peel sits in chair right. Rodney slowly.
We must get some soap.
Peel slowly.
Yes, I thought of that.
Mary slowly.
Where can we get it?
From a soap factory?
Mary slowly.
But they all belong to Father.
Rodney, with dawning hope, rises.
But he can't know about the Marshall Field order. Maybe we could buy some soap before he'd have a chance to stop them selling to us.
Peel and Mary rise.
Great idea. Let's get busy.
How?
Where's the phone book?
She grabs red classified directory from desk.
We'll call up 2 or 3 of his branch offices. Skins, skates, shirts. Where's soap?
He has hurriedly begun turning over pages as Peel on one side and Mary on the other help him. Mary over his shoulder.
Skylights, skates, slides.
Peel the same.
Smelters, smokestacks, snuff.
Ah, here it is. Soap manufacturers.
Skimming down page.
276 Broad. Here's one of Father's factories.
I've got one too. 374 Schuler.
So have I. 480 Autobahn.
They drop book and each dashes to a phone. As they give the number of phone, curtain, during 2 curtains till they finish lines.
276 Broad.
480 Autobahn.
374 Schuler. And hurry, sweetie.
Rodney holding wire.
It'll have to be Old Rose.
Castile is the cheapest.
Order small cakes.
Hello, is this the Martin Soap Company? We want to get some soap. Pink Castile, small cakes. 40 or 50,000 cakes, immediate delivery. What's the price?
Hello, 480 Autobahn. I want to find out if I can buy a lot of soap right away. Old Rose, Castile, 50,000 cakes. We want it this afternoon.
Hello, son. I want to buy a lot of soap. 50,000 cakes. Got to have some of it today. Smallest size Castile cakes you keep. If you have an Old Rose, pink'll do. Who am I? None of your business.
And as all 3 are talking together violently in their separate phones, the curtain falls. End of Act 2. Act 3 of It Pays to Advertise by Roy Cooper Megrue and Walter Hackett. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Pays to Advertise Act 3. Scene. The scene is the same as that of Act 1, except that it is 5 o'clock in the afternoon of a day in late October. Martin is discovered behind the desk, right. Before him is a pile of evening papers and some unopened letters. As the curtain rises, he opens one, displaying to the audience on its back page a page advertisement of 13 soap. In a moment he turns over to others, gives an annoyed exclamation and tosses it aside. He picks up one of the letters, opens it, gives an angry grunt, mutters disgustedly,
Meh, 13 soap.
and throws it into the wastebasket. Johnson entering door upper left.
Miss Grayson is here to see you, sir.
Martin a bit surprised.
Miss Grayson? Well, show her in.
Very good, sir.
He exits. Martin opens another paper. Again sees an advertisement of 13 soap, and with considerable irritation sweeps the whole pile off the desk as Johnson enters, followed by Mary.
Miss Grayson.
Johnson exits.
How do you do, Mr. Martin?
Come to get your job back, I suppose.
No, sir.
Well, you can have it, at the old salary.
I don't want it.
Oh, Rodney sent you to plead for him?
No, sir.
Then what are you here for?
To make you a business proposition.
Why doesn't Rodney make it himself?
He doesn't know I'm here.
That's something in his favor. Can't see much use in women tying up in men's business.
Johnson entering.
Mr. Rodney Martin and Ambrose Peel.
Ah, the whole firm. Send 'em in, Johnson.
Very good, sir.
He exits. Rodney and Peel enter.
Hello, Father.
Crosses to table.
How do you do, sir?
Coming down left. Martin grunts to them both. Rodney seeing Mary.
Mary, what on earth are you doing here?
I came to tell your father about Marshall Field's order.
That's why we're here, too.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you right now, I won't back any fake company.
But we're not a fake any longer.
We've actually sold some soap.
50,000 cakes.
To Marshall Field.
Then why did you send them only 5,000 cakes?
Because after we got that much from one of your branch factories, you shut off our supply.
And we couldn't get any more soap anywhere.
Mary accusingly.
And you knew it very well.
Crossing to right side of Mr. Martin.
We've still got 45,000 cakes to deliver. If we can get 'em from you, why let all that money get out of the family? It's a business proposition.
No, it isn't. Don't fool yourself. I sent that telegram.
What telegram?
The telegram from Marshall Fields ordering the 50,000 cakes.
You sent it?
That day at the office, you were pretty game, son. And to tell the truth, I felt so sorry for you. I kinda had to do something, so I sent that wire.
So, that success is all a bluff too?
Sits on sofa.
But what did you do it for?
Well, I figured an order like that would stall off your creditors. And then I had fixed it with one of our factories to let you have 5,000 cakes at 3 cents a cake. I knew it would mean some ready cash for you from Marshall Field.
But how did you square Marshall Field?
Oh, I just wired him I'd be responsible. And say...
Turning to Rodney, who rises.
You had the nerve to charge him 60 cents a cake, and I had to pay the bill. That shipment cost me $3,000 for $150 worth of soap.
Ha ha!
That isn't funny, young man.
No, it isn't. I thought we'd really made good. And all the time it was you behind us.
You see, my boy, even if you did nearly trim me, I've got a sort of sneaking fondness for you. Look here, son, why not quit? There is no market for dollar soap.
But how do you know?
I had a letter from Marshall Field a few days ago, asking me what to do with the soap. They hadn't sold a cake. I told him to dump it in the Chicago River. It might help to clean it up.
But you didn't give our advertising a chance.
We only finished a great big advertising campaign in Chicago 2 days ago.
I know the soap will make good with that trademark.
If your trademark was so marvelous, somebody beside your poor old father would have bought your soap.
Oh, what's the use? He doesn't believe in advertising.
Oh, yes, I do. Sound conservative advertising, but not the crazy sensational stuff you go in for.
Oh, you're just mad that the Soap Trust didn't think of 13 soap itself.
Why, we wouldn't touch a fool thing like that. If you deliver the goods, your goods will advertise you. That's always been our policy.
I'm sorry, Father, but you are old-fashioned to knock the modern way of advertising. Why, do you know the National Biscuit Company was on the verge of failing until they hit on the title, You Need a Biscuit?
And since then, they've had over 400 lawsuits to protect it.
Their trademark made 'em. They value that trademark now at $6 million.
Great stuff.
Turning to Martin.
And spearmint gum, just as a trademark, is worth $7 million.
And the Fairbanks people count their trademark, the Gold Dust Twins, at $10 million.
Ever hear of the Gillette safety razor?
I use it myself.
Tell him about it, Rodney.
It cost you $5. Don't you know there's a mighty good safety razor for $0.25 and dozens at $1? But you use the Gillette because Gillette was there first. You buy his razor at a high price simply because of its trademark.
Mary with gesture.
Advertising.
Rodney and Peel with gesture.
Absolutely. Ivory soap in the magazines alone used $450,000 worth of space in 1913, and at 3 cents a cake wholesale, that represents 15 million cakes for magazine advertising alone.
I don't believe it.
Yes, and a lot of other guys didn't believe that iron ships would float, or that machines heavier than air could fly, or that you could talk to Frisco on a wire, or send a message across the Atlantic without a wire. Pardon me, sir, but you want to get on to yourself.
Yes, Father, you certainly do.
And you'd better hurry up.
You've got a fine lot of theories. But what have they done for those 5,000 cakes of 13 soap out at Marshall Fields?
Why, we haven't really spent enough money advertising.
That's true. Every time the American Tobacco Company puts out a new cigarette, they start off by appropriating $200,000 to boom it.
And I suppose they are a lot of boobs.
And think what other firms spend. I've gone into this thing, Father.
Yes, Rodney, let's show him our list.
Sure. It's an absolutely accurate list of what some of the big advertisers spent in the 31 leading magazines last year. Eastman Kodak, $400,000. Postum Coffee, $125,000. Arrow Collars, $400,000. Melacrino Cigarettes, $100,000. Welch's Grape Juice, $100,000.
Grape juice, my friend.
You need a biscuit, $150,000. Spearmint gum, $140,000.
That's enough.
I've only just begun. Grape nuts, $228,000.
Colgate's dental cream, $230,000.
Campbell's soups, $186,000.
Kellogg's toasted cornflakes, $200,000.
Quaker Oats, $367,000. And these are only a few. You can't see how it pays, but you do know that it must pay, or they wouldn't do it.
Does that mean anything to you?
Yes. Does it when you realise that those 31 magazines have only about 10 million readers?
And that there are 100 million people in this country. Why, just to appeal to 1/10 of the population, $50 million was spent in magazines last year. And each year people are getting better educated. More people are wanting to read. It won't be long before there are 25 million people buying magazines, and you can reach all of them by advertising. Get a new market, a new population to deal with. Think what national advertising is accomplishing. It sells automobiles, vacuum cleaners, talking machines, rubber heels, Kodaks, washing machines, foods, clothes, shoes, paints, houses, plumbing, electric irons, fireless cookers. Mostly to a lot of people who never even heard of them if it weren't for advertisements.
But nowadays it isn't only people who have stoves to sell or toothbrushes that are spending money on publicity. Banks are advertising for money, nations for immigrants, colleges for students, cities for citizens, and churches for congregations. And you sit there thinking it doesn't pay to advertise.
$616 million was spent last year in magazines and newspapers, billboards, and electric signs.
Bringing education and comfort and fun and luxury to the people of the United States. It's romance, Father. The romance of printing presses, of steel rails, of the wireless, of trains and competition, the romance of modern business, and it's all built on advertising. Advertising is the biggest thing in this country, and it's only just begun.
Martin, after a pause.
Why didn't you boys go into the advertising business? You seem to know something about that.
Peel fairly tearing his hair.
Oh, what's the use? He's the old school. We're new blood.
Coming to left of centre. Rodney with enthusiasm.
Youth has got it on old age.
Mary coming down between Peel and Rodney.
You bet it has.
When you boys get through talking and you're flat broke and down and out, come around and see me. I'll show you an old business that has a lot of money that isn't radical and manages to keep going without wasting a fortune in fool advertising.
Then you won't let us get any soap?
Risk my business reputation on a silly scheme like dollar soap? I should say not.
Oh, come on. What's the use of talking to a man whose brain is deaf?
Exit door upper left, keeping in step single file. Martin rises and comes to centre.
Say when you get a new line of patter, come around. I like to hear you. Dollar soap.
Johnson enters.
I beg pardon, a gentleman to see you, sir.
Johnson hands Martin a card on silver tray.
Mr. Charles Bronson. What does he want?
He says he's from Marshall Field.
Oh, a kick, I suppose. Send him in.
Yes, sir.
He exits. Enter Bronson. Bronson inquiringly.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
I just arrived from Chicago. I'm here in reference to the 13 soap.
Be seated. Well, what about it?
Sits in chair left of table. Bronson sits in chair right of desk.
While, of course, we understand that the 13 soap is made by your son, Mr. Rodney Martin, at the same time as you wired us, you would be responsible for that order. Marshall Field felt that I should first see you in the matter.
Huh.
We realize, of course, that you are backing your son.
Martin gruffly.
Well, why shouldn't I back him?
Of course, of course. That's why we'd like to place our order through you.
Martin amazed.
Place your what?
Well, through some error, we received only 5,000 cakes instead of 50,000. But that's all gone.
All gone? What happened to it?
We've sold it.
Sold it?
Yes. And we want the balance of the original order you were kind enough to throw our way. And as much more soap as we could get.
But only the other day I had a letter from Marshall Field saying they hadn't sold a cake.
I know. We felt at first that, of course, there could be no popular market for a dollar soap. We weren't as far-sighted as you were.
Martin clears his throat.
But of course, when those extraordinary advertisements appeared, so different from your usual conservative publicity, the sales began immediately. We sold the 5,000 cakes in 2 days.
And the advertising did it?
Of course. What else? Now we want to handle your goods exclusively in the West, with extensive immediate deliveries. Can that be arranged?
It ought to be. What do you offer?
I dare say we would contract for a 250,000 cakes of soap.
Martin amazed.
250,000?
Bronson misunderstanding him.
Of course, we might do a little better if we could settle the matter at once.
I should have to consult my son first.
Bronson rising.
Oh, then perhaps I ought to go see him.
Martin rising.
Not at all, not at all. I'll attend to it.
But we thought that you would have full power.
As a matter of courtesy, I should like to talk things over with my own boy.
But you controlled the product.
Bronson, you can trust me to handle this thing.
Of course, of course. When can I see you again?
In half an hour.
Oh, very well. I have some matters to attend to. I'll be back in half an hour.
Going to door upper left.
It's a wonderful soap, Mr. Martin.
Martin dryly.
Oh, wonderful.
See you in half an hour.
Bronson exits.
Wonderful soap. Plain pink Castile. I've got to get in on this.
He goes to phone.
1313 Bryant. Hello? Is this the 13 Soap Company?
Johnson enters.
Oh, beg pardon, sir, but...
Just a minute. Is Mr. Rodney Martin in? No? Never mind who I am. Goodbye. Johnson, call up my son's office every 10 minutes and let me know the minute he comes in. Don't tell him who's calling.
Crosses to right.
Yes, sir.
And when Mr. Bronson comes back, be sure to have him wait for me.
Yes, sir. There's a lady to see you, sir. She speaks English now.
She does, eh? That's unusual, isn't it?
I mean, sir, when she was here 2 months ago, she could only talk French.
Indeed. Well, I'm not interested in the languages she speaks. Who is she, and what does she want?
She wishes to see you about the French rights of the 13 soap.
The what?
The French rights.
Great Scott! Send her right in.
Yes, sir. The Countess de Beaurine.
He exits. Countess enters.
How do you do?
Martin comes down in front of table.
How do you do?
I am the Comtesse de Beaurine. Your son have told you of me?
No.
I bet he have not. He is a cheat. He trick me.
Now, my dear lady.
Attendez, you listen to me. 2 months ago, there in that very room, I buy the French rights for the 13 soap. I pay him $15,000, and now I cannot get any soap.
You will have to see my son.
But I have seen him, and he give me no satisfaction. If I cannot get any soap, I must have my money, one or the other, or I put him in the jail. He is a cheat. I have here the contract. I sue him in the court.
My dear lady, you mustn't feel that way.
Feel? Ah, mon Dieu! I trick no one. I play fair. I am an honest woman. Mais je vous dis que je suis honnête, très honnête dans mes affaires. Monsieur votre fils m'a donné le contrat, et j'insiste qu'il est très malhonnête. Je n'ai pas l'habitude d'être si maltraité, monsieur, et je répète que je ferai tout mon possible d'obtenir les $15,000 que me doit monsieur votre fils. Et s'il ne me les donne pas, je le poursuivrai sans cesse. Comprenez-vous, monsieur?
She takes the contract from him.
But I don't understand French.
Pardon, monsieur. Always I am excited I speak the French. But if you love your son, you pay me back, or else he go to jail. What you say?
But $15,000 is a lot of money.
Yes, but it is more to me than it is to you. You pay me, or he go to prison. Now, what you say?
Johnson enters.
What is it?
I beg pardon, a gentleman to see you, sir.
Martin comes to Johnson.
Is it Bronson?
No, sir.
Johnson hands him card.
By George, just the man I want to see. Show him right in. Hold on. Now, Duchess, if you don't mind, just step in this room a minute.
Indicating room lower right.
No. I do not like that room. I have been there before.
Here is a nice room.
Points to room lower left.
You will find it very comfortable.
Very well. I wait.
Crosses to left.
But in 15 minutes, if I do not get the $15,000, I go to my lawyers, and your son, poof, he is done.
Talking in French as she exits. Martin to Johnson.
Did you get my son's office?
Yes, sir. He hasn't come in.
If you reach him while Mr. Peel's here, don't mention Rodney's name. Just call him that party. I'll understand.
Crosses right.
Yes, sir.
He exits. Peel enters door upper left.
Now see here, young man.
Now, one moment, Mr. Martin. I just want to say that I am a man of few words, that this isn't advertising, it's personal. I know you don't like me.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm a pretty wise gink.
Well, you are a bit...
Fresh? Well, I guess that's right too, but that's me. I'm not your style. Here's the idea. Your son has been immense to me. Great kid, and it struck me the reason you wouldn't back him was because I was mixed up in his business. So I just came to say, if that's the situation, why, I'm out. That's all. You go ahead with him alone.
You're not a partner?
I should say not. I'm just a hired hand. He can can me any moment, but he's not that kind of a guy who'd do it.
Then you haven't power to sign, to make a deal.
I should say not. Why, he and Miss Grayson do all the signing. If I could have signed contracts, I'd have spent $1 million in advertising. And believe me, you ought to back him because, honest, Mr. Martin, it's a great scheme. The 13 soap on the level, if it's handled right, and the publicity end is.
Now don't get started on advertising.
That's right too. Well, I guess that's all. I wanted to tell you how I stood about Rodney. That's off my chest, so good afternoon.
Starts to go.
Wait a minute. What did you boys mean by trimming that poor countess on the French rights?
Jumpin' Jupiter, has she been here?
She's here now.
What did she come to see you for?
She said she'd put Rodney in jail for fraud unless I made good that $15,000. I've got to pay her. Can't see the boy disgraced.
So if you'd like to save that $15,000, I'll fix it for you.
But she's got a contract.
I'll get it for you cheap. Pardon me, sir, but I know how to handle dames like her.
Mr. Peel, I like you.
Slaps him on shoulder.
Huh.
Have a cigar?
Peel crosses right. He takes it as Johnson enters.
I just telephoned that party. He is at the office now.
Good. Peel, I've got to go out on an important soap deal.
He starts to go, then goes to Peel.
Oh, by George, I nearly forgot. There's another matter I must attend to first. Peel, you'll find the Countess in there. Do the best you can. We'll settle the details when I get back. Make yourself at home.
Sure, this cigar's great company.
Good cigar, eh?
Corker.
Johnson, send over 6 boxes of these cigars to Mr. Peel's house. He'll give you the address.
He exits left.
And say, Johnson, wrap 'em up now and I'll take 'em with me.
Very good, sir.
He exits. Peel walks over to the window and looks out at the 13 soap signs. The telephone rings. Peel looks at it. It rings again. He goes over to desk and raises it.
Yes, sweetie, this is the garage. How long does it take to go to Coney Island? How in hell do I know?
Business of changing money and watch to different pockets. Goes to door left and opens it.
Countess de Bull Run.
He goes into some fake French.
De jeu, de joie, politesse noblesse obligée.
You ought to take up French. Your accent's immense. Well, little sweetheart?
Say, what are you doing in these parts?
Oh, I came to see Mr. Martin.
What for?
What do you think?
See here now, if you're aiming to trim the old man, I won't stand for it.
Ambrose, do me a favour.
What is it?
Don't tell old Martin what I tried to do to you boys. He is the kind that would put me in jail. I'll be on the level. I did come here to try to trim him, but I'll cut it out. Honest, I will. Oh, Ambrose, I don't like being a grafter. I've had to do a lot of things I didn't want to. You don't know how hard it is for girls like me. I never had a show. I ran away from home when I was a kid. I've been pretty much up against it. Is what I've done to other guys going to butt in and queer me?
Nix.
Give me a chance to be on the square. It ain't easy for a girl to fight it out all by herself when she's all alone. No money, no friends, and you got to live. Live on $5 a week. You got a lot for a good time, haven't you? God, I've been lonely sometimes. You've got to be pretty smart to steer straight. But I've done it. I've done it. I've done it.
She breaks down and sits on chair right of desk. Peel kindly.
Now see here, Countess.
He pats her on back.
Don't do that. Don't.
She is sobbing a little.
Oh, quit it.
A pause.
Keep it for some poor boob who'll fall for it.
Countess tearfully.
Oh, Ambrose, don't talk like that.
Say honest, it's foolish wasting it on me, kid.
Countess, completely changing to a radiant smile, rises.
Well, it's always worth trying once.
Peel genially.
Sure it is. Why, you had me winging for a minute, but when you pulled that wheeze about I've done it 3 times in succession, I knew it was phony.
But honest, I was on the level about old Martin.
Nix, you came here to trim him for $15,000 on the French rights.
Gosh, have you seen him?
Yes, he left me here to settle it. Where's the contract? Come on, gimme.
You mean you've been on all the time?
Sure.
And you let me sit there and emote all over the place?
Gimme.
I suppose I've got to. Oh, I'm sick of soap anyhow. 13 may be a lucky hunch for you boys, but it has been a hoodoo for me.
And now, my little arts of lettuce, this concludes your portion of the evening's entertainment.
But at that, don't give me away, will you?
I like you. You got brains. Most chickens are just chickens.
You are 18-carat, kid.
Mary, followed by Rodney, enters hurriedly and sees Peel.
Oh, have you seen Father? Is he here?
I'm waiting for him now.
It's most important.
You remember the Countess?
All bow embarrassed. Pause.
Well, I guess I'm not wanted, so I'll trot.
Goes to door upper left.
So long, you 13 soap suds.
Exits.
Where is Father?
Yes, what's the excitement?
Just after we got to the office, there was a letter from Macy's.
ordering 10,000 cakes of 13 soap.
Now what do you think of that?
Pinch me, I'm dreaming.
Going down right.
They say our advertising's wonderful and has created such a demand they want to handle the soap in town.
Goes around table down right. Peel wonderingly.
And all the things we said to your father are really true?
Goes up centre.
Of course they are.
Rodney protesting.
Now, see here, old man.
Gosh.
Coming down in front of table.
You see, when I show Father this letter from Macy's, he's got to admit we've won out and supply us with soap.
Isn't it a shame that you can't get soap from anybody but him?
He certainly has got the soap business tied up tight.
Yes, if he busted, the whole world would go dirty.
Suppose he's still stubborn and he won't help you. What'll you do?
Oh, I'll just have to plod along.
Don't plod. Gallop, son. Gallop. Gallop.
You're a great pal.
Mary crosses to Peel.
Do you know, Mr. Peel, I'd like you awfully.
Call me Ambrose.
Mary coyly goes to left.
Ambrose.
If we ever do come out of this, you're going to be my partner, 50-50.
Oh, shut up.
Johnson entering.
Mr. Charles Bronson, shall I show him in?
You have my permission?
Crosses to left. Mary crosses to table right.
This isn't my house.
Bronson enters. Johnson exits.
This way, sir.
Oh, I beg pardon. I expected to find Mr. Martin.
I am Mr. Martin.
Bronson eagerly.
Mr. Rodney Martin?
Yes.
Just the very man I wanted to see. On private business.
Oh, these are my partners. You can talk before them. This is Mr. Peel and Miss Grayson. May I present Mr.
Mr. Charles Bronson of Marshall Field.
Mary stunned.
Marshall Field?
Peel falls in chair right of desk.
Marshall Field?
Now, about your soap.
We're very sorry.
Rises and goes to Bronson.
We are, but a bargain is a bargain.
Rises.
Sorry? Why, your 13 soap the last few days has had a most remarkable sale at our store.
Mary and Peel speechless, look at each other. Rodney gasping.
You mean it is really selling?
Rather.
It's really selling?
Why, you seem surprised.
Oh, no, not a bit.
Oh, not a bit.
You mean people are actually coming into the store and buying it?
At $1 a cake?
Mary and Rodney take armchair from left of table and place it in centre of stage.
Have a chair.
Give me your hat.
Takes hat and fans himself.
It was those page advertisements in Chicago that did it.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary advertisements they were, too.
Oh, nothing to what we will do.
You'll keep up your campaign?
Double it.
Triple it.
Good, good. We foresee a tremendous sale for your goods. It's an amazing soap.
It's more than that.
Absolutely.
Do you control the company yourself?
Oh, entirely.
Then I can deal with you.
With us. All of us.
We would be glad to contract now for 250,000 cakes.
Peel just flops into chair.
With deliveries to begin next week.
Our capacity just at present is limited.
Yes, we have so many orders on hand.
How naturally, but how much soap can you deliver now?
I don't quite know.
To Mary.
Do you?
Not quite.
To Peel.
Do you?
Not quite.
Well, under the circumstances, what can we do?
That's the question.
What's the answer?
Rises. A pause.
Here's an idea. In view of our pressing orders, will you consider for the moment paying us merely for the use of our trademark without any soap at all?
Yes, I think we would.
You would?
Well, your trademark is, of course, your biggest asset.
Yes, of course.
You would naturally give us your formula.
Yes, if we still have that cookbook.
I beg pardon?
Nothing. Have a cigar?
You can have the formula.
With a license from you to use the title, we could probably arrange to have the soap manufactured by Cyrus Martin of the Soap Trust.
Oh, you think you could?
How much would you be willing to pay us for the trademark?
I should have to call up our Chicago office, but I think I can safely say we would be prepared to offer you at least $250,000.
Peel grasping.
Indeed.
Can I have an option on that figure?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Mary loudly.
No.
No.
No, but I hate to say it.
But if you control the company, why not settle matters now?
Why not, Mary?
Yes, why not, Mary?
Hadn't we better discuss the matter a little more fully first among ourselves?
Perhaps I could wait somewhere for a few minutes while you talk things over.
Mary opening door left.
Yes, do. Please, in the library.
I'm very glad to have met you.
Not half as glad.
Not half so glad.
Not half as glad as we are to have met you.
No, not half as much.
Bronson exits left lower door.
Why not give him an option at $250,000?
Yes, why not? For the love of gee whiz, tell us that.
Because maybe we can get more money than that out of your father.
Johnson enters with letter and crosses to table right.
Mary, you are a wonder.
Gosh, I wish you were going to marry me.
Johnson, oh Johnson, you know I've always liked you.
I beg pardon, miss?
Will you do me a favour?
Why, yes, miss.
When Mr. Martin comes back, don't tell him that Rodney and Mr. Peel are here, or Bronson either. Say I'm alone.
Yes, miss, but Mr. Martin just drove up in his car. He'll be here directly.
Hurry up then. Tell him I'm here waiting for him.
Johnson exits.
But I don't understand.
Neither do I.
I do. I've got a great idea. You two boys go into that room.
Indicating lower right.
And stay there. When I ring this buzzer twice, you call me on this phone. There's a switch in there. And never mind what I say. Hurry now, both of you.
But what's your plan?
I'm going to try and make a deal with your father.
Well, I'll slip you something that may help you when you see father. You tell him that I've got that contract. He'll understand.
But I don't know what any of this is about.
Neither do I. Come on, she's got more brains than both of us.
They exit right. Mary settles herself in chair left of desk as Martin enters.
Hello, Miss Grayson. This is a pleasant surprise. Where is Rodney?
That doesn't matter. I'm here.
Oh, where's that Mr.
Mr. Peel? Oh, Mr. Peel's gone back to the office. But he told me to tell you he'd got that contract.
Great. He's a smart boy.
We are all smart. It's a smart firm. We just got a letter from Macy's for 10,000 cakes of 13 soap, And this time, you didn't send a telegram.
Macy's, eh? Well, well. Now, I'll be frank. I want Rodney to come in with me. And you've got to help. You started this scheme. Now finish it up.
What's changed all of a sudden?
Well, Macy's for one thing. That shows sensational advertising does pay. Those boys are right. I've been too conservative. But anyhow, I've got the whip hand. Rodney can't get his soap from Macy's except from me. And if I'm going to furnish 3-cent soap that he sells wholesale for 60 cents, I'm going to be in on the profits. Any young man who can do that is just bound to have me for a partner, whether he wants me or not. What do you say, Miss Grayson?
I'll do all I can for Rodney.
You have authority to close the deal?
Absolutely.
Good. Now, what's your proposition?
Sits.
$500,000 cash.
Martin rising.
What?
Mary calmly.
Sit down, that isn't all. We get 51% of the stock, you put up the factory and give Rodney $50,000 a year, Peel $30,000 and me $20,000.
As my son once observed, what a lovely autumn we're having.
He leans back and lights a cigar. As he does so, Mary pushes the buzzer twice. NB. The audience must hear this buzzer. Almost instantly the phone rings. Mary quickly takes the phone.
Shall I answer it?
Go ahead. Say I'm out.
Mary in phone.
Oh, hello.
To Martin.
It's for me. Hello, Rodney. You've seen Bronson?
Martin sitting up.
Bronson?
Mary in phone.
He did? Why, that's a splendid offer. I hardly dared think Marshall Field would be so generous.
Martin promptly rises.
I'll accept your proposition, Miss Grayson.
Wait.
In phone.
Have you closed with Bronson yet?
What'd he say?
Oh, you haven't.
Good.
No, I think you'd better come right up from the office and see me before you sign anything.
Here, let me talk to him.
He reaches for phone. Mary quickly.
Oh, hello? Hello?
She jiggles phone.
Oh dear, we've been cut off. Still, it doesn't matter. It's all settled now.
That's splendid, Miss Grayson. I'm mighty grateful to you.
Mary nervously.
Shall we sign a memorandum now?
Sure. Just the rough details.
Sure. Never put off till tomorrow what you can sign today.
Martin. He crosses to table right, sits and makes memoranda. Writing.
51%. Rodney, 50,000. And what's that young man's name again? Spiel?
Peel.
That certainly is one hell of a name. 30,000. Grayson, 20,000. There.
To Mary.
You sign here.
No, you sign first.
Martin grunts and signs.
Now I'll sign for Rodney.
She does so gleefully.
That's great.
Rises and goes left.
You don't know how great it is.
Mary starts for door.
Now I've got a big surprise for you. Rodney's not at the office. He's in here.
What do you mean?
Only that I thought I'd handle you less sentimentally than he would. You see, once before I spoiled Rodney's plan. This time I thought I ought to fix it up for him.
Opening door.
Rodney? Ambrose?
Say, what is all this?
Rodney and Peel enter.
Hello, Father.
Rodney, it's all settled. Your father has gone in with us. I've the contract.
Then we can get some soap.
All you want.
Then I don't care what the arrangement is, now that we can make good 20% of the profits and any old salary.
20%? Why, she buncoed me out of 51% and $500,000 down.
Peel gasping.
$500,000?
Rodney to Mary.
You did? Mary, you are a peach.
Absolutely.
Mary to Rodney.
And by the terms of my contract with you, you now owe me 10% of what Rodney has made, $50,000.
What contract?
I don't get you.
So that's why you held me up, eh? Just to get your 10%. Say, young lady, I've got a lot of other money that you are overlooking.
Father, what do you mean?
Martin to Rodney.
I'll tell you what I mean. She got engaged to you to make you go to work. She only left me to keep you on the job because I promised her 10% of what you earned. All the time that she's been pretending she would marry you, she's been making use of you.
Goes to right of table to sign check.
Mary, you did this to me?
I don't believe it.
Mary to Martin.
You owe me $50,000. Can I have the check, please?
Yes, if you'll quit now. Get out of here for good.
Certainly.
I'm disappointed to think you'd treat my boy like this.
What's the difference? If I'd really loved him, you'd have objected to his marrying only a typewriter.
Objected? If you'd been on the level, I'd have been proud to have you for my daughter.
Handing check to Rodney. Rodney gleefully.
Hurrah, Mary. It's all right.
I don't get you.
What is this? A joke?
Rises.
Certainly it is. You two put up a joke on me, and Mary and I thought we'd put up one for you. Mary told me about that full contract weeks ago.
You mean you're going to marry her?
Certainly not.
Now see here.
Why aren't you going to marry her?
Because we were married this morning, and we thought before we told you of our marriage, we'd get her percentage for a wedding present.
Hands check to Peel. He gives it to Mary.
And it's bigger than we ever hoped for.
By George! You boys were right. I am an old fool. Anyhow, I'll win that bet from old John Clark.
And now for Bronson.
Goes to door left lower.
Oh, Mr. Bronson?
You boys know Bronson?
Oh, yes. We had a long talk with him right in this room about a proposition from Marshall Field.
Enter Bronson. Bronson crosses to Martin Sr.
Mr. Martin, Mr. Peel.
Rodney to Bronson.
Now you talk to Father.
Yes, you talk to him, Father.
Yes, Father, you talk to him.
Bronson to Rodney.
But I thought I was dealing with you.
No, sir, with me. Now, what's your proposition?
$250,000, cash, just for the trademark.
$250,000? Why, you ought to be ashamed of yourself to try to trim these poor boys like that. You know that 13 Soap is worth $500,000 in Chicago alone, and you try to take advantage of these kids' ignorance? Why, it's outrageous. But you can't trim me. No, sir, we wouldn't take $1 million. Do you know that the Uneeda trademark is valued at $6 million? The Gold Dust Twins at $10 million, and our trademark is better than theirs. We're going to advertise all over the world. That's what advertising means, the power of suggestion, the psychology of print. All you have to do is to say a thing often enough and hard enough, and 97% of the public will fall. Say, what kind of garters do you wear? Boston? Why? Because all your life, every time you opened a magazine, you saw a picture of a man's leg with a certain kind of garter on it. Boston.
Curtain. End of Act 3. End of It Pays to Advertise by Roy Cooper Megrue and Walter Hackett.